because I've restarted the stream 3 times now. Alright.
I wonder if it's just restream with YouTube. Because I had the same issue last night. It worked right fine with my Twitch.
Yeah. I mean, I usually just stream to Twitch, but this is the first time it's done this to me for a restream.
Okay, we're live on my YouTube. Not my YouTube, but on my Twitch. I can see it's working just fine.
Okay, I think it's coming up. Maybe on here. Maybe. I don't know. Yes. I think we're live. Maybe.
It shows your YouTube's live. It shows your YouTube's live. We're live, baby. We live.
Scuffed intro.
Oh, we're good? I think I'm almost positive we're live because I just saw it. Like, I'm looking at it right now in Discord. I'm watching it.
We live. Let's do this.
Yeah, baby.
Dude, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, Lord, baby. What is you doing, Daniel?
Yeah, Dan.
Oh, hit him with that Peter, a piper, a picker, pan. Dan is the man with that plan, and I gotta hit him with that.
Dude, whatever happened to him? Sorry, I know we're starting. Let's go.
Oh, they
What,
just,
Damn
they
Daniel?
just, yeah. No, not Damn Daniel. It's these other 2 dudes that just jump around and act like idiots. But
I haven't seen him since like a year ago.
yeah, no, they were like a one-trick pony. That's all they could do. Anyway, welcome to the Strum, everyone. We are live today with Caperfin. He is doing it big for us and just hanging out. How you doing, Caperfin? Nice to see you, my dude.
I'm doing fantastic, man.
That's great to hear. It's good stuff.
Sounds wonderful.
Feeling it. Looking tough, feeling tough. Alright, so today we are going to be talking about whatever the stuff says in the title. You know, stuff and things. I can't remember what we even put in there. Got some leveling, got some twink stuff, sharding. We're going to touch on a few other things as well, but those are the key points that we're hitting. So I think that we should kick things off with this, we're going to call it this novel that Grays for Days put out on freaking ClassicWow.live. So, Grays, tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here.
I'm feeling good about this. All right, guys. So I put together a forum post. I'm gonna make a video out of it eventually, but I put together. I compiled a ton of information about a launch strategy that's on the basis of weapon progression. That's what it's centered around. The idea is from level 1 to 10, if you can get a weapon, and guys, if you've played vanilla, if you've played on private servers before, you know how impactful a weapon upgrade is, especially an overpowered weapon. You go from hitting things 8, 9, 10 times to kill them as a melee class to killing them with 3 or 4 swings, especially, like I said, at those lower levels. So this forum post goes over the weapon progression from 1 to 10, and there's a lot of details we're going to go into, but just weighing the pros and cons of going after low-level quests that have a really minimum level requirement, but they're like than when you're really supposed to do it. I don't know if it was meant like that for design, if it just kind of got scuffed, went under the radar, but there's a few quests that you can get at a really low level that are like a level 12 weapon. You can get at level 5 or 6, which is insane. So that's what this was based around. It was 3 things. It was the battered chest. They have 3 overpowered weapons in there that require level 5, a one-handed sword, a two-handed sword, and a two-handed axe, and then a quest in Dun Moreau. You have to kill Vagash, and you get that two-handed mace, so Dwarf Paladins can use that from 5 to 10. Well, actually 6, sorry. And then Taurens have another two-handed mace, Supervisor Fizz Sprocket. You have to go into that, place kill level 12 mob. You can get that as early as level 5. And the kicker here is that you can't train weapon proficiencies, additional weapon skills until level 10. So whatever weapon skills you have at level 1, you're stuck with that from 1 to 10. And the really neat thing, especially warriors, all warriors have different weapon skills starting off at level 1. Take, for instance, the orcs and the trolls. And I'm going straight off of memory. I'm not even looking at the forum right now because I spent so much time on it. But the orcs is stupid, dude. An incredible amount of time. You can spend half an hour going through this information. And the way it's written, and this is kind of how I do my other guides, it's kind of just the nature of it. Like, I did a ton of research and I presented it in a way that you can come up with a solution. So this thing is just stacked. Atticus Pogren, have y'all read through it yet? You may not have.
I have skimmed through it at work. I don't. That is a very deep novel that I have yet to be able to kind of control what we do. So
I didn't look through every bit of it, but a lot of it was a little bit of review for me, like with the as it ties into the little like speed leveling guides that I've done and whatnot. Like when I did the one for warrior, like I had to look at all, because like I didn't want to go based off of like random chance for any of the speed leveling stuff I did. I wanted it to be 100%. This is the certain stuff you can get, and this will get you there as fast as possible without having to worry about drops and whatnot. But this is like this part here with the weapon vendors and the 5 to 10 zones. That's exactly like some of the stuff I was looking at, because you've got like large axe that's ridiculously good, especially like. But see, this is like why this is one of the reasons why I like playing orc and why I hate being like human or like troll or whatever, the ones that start with one-handers, because a one-hander and a shield is so freaking like useless before level 10. Like it just it feels like you're not even doing any damage to them, even if you pick up like Gladius or something like that. But yeah, like orc getting a large axe at level 5 or 3 even, but you got to be 5 to get to that zone. But still, like that thing would just boost your damage like crazy, and it'll carry you all the way until you get your one-handed weapon from your warrior quest at 10. But yeah, Caperfin. Let's have Caperfin weigh in on this, since he's our guest. Did you go look at this at all, or what are your thoughts on all this stuff?
I'm looking through it right now. There's a lot of hidden gems that many people don't really realize. And when it comes to weapons, I do agree. A one hand and a shield is kind of slow. So a lot of people are realizing that it's better to go two-hander for leveling.
Definitely.
Yeah.
One-handers you are always going to suffer from that extra miss chance. Like, I thought I was going through helping someone with a guide recently, and they had on there like, just get whichever weapon is better, and I'm like, no, even if it's like a little worse, two-hander is better overall, unless it's like something that's like astronomically better. Like if you're using like a level 10 green two-hander, but you pick up a cruel barb or something, yeah, you're gonna want to go with the cruel barb, because obviously that thing's gonna have like triple the DPS. But still, like that miss chance is not something to laugh at. It'll screw you over more times than not when you're leveling.
Yeah, and Caperfin, the hidden gems, dude, no one has talked about this. And guys, for the people that are watching, the battered chest, there are different tiers to the treasure chests, and there's one tier in the 1 to 10 chest. This is through all the zones, Teldrassil, L14, Sturito, Dunmaro, all the 1 to 10 zones share the same loot table. And guys, there's 7 greens. Like you're guaranteed a consumable, a trash, a white or gray item, a reagent, and then a green plus type of gear. So there's 7 green gear. There's 7 green pieces that can get dropped in this 1 to 10 zone. 3 of those are weapons. So you have a 14% chance to get one of these weapons: a one-handed sword, a two-handed sword, or a two-handed axe. And it requires level 5. Guys, the DPS on that one-handed sword is like nearly 6 damage per second. And the two-handers are 7 damage per second. And for a level 5, if you look through the guide and you see the other items, the other quest rewards, the other vendor weapons, they're like 2-3 damage per second, all the way from 1 to 10. It's insane, dude. So if you were to actually get one of these green weapons from the battered chest, you're gonna you literally speed up the 5 to 10 route by 30 minutes instantly. You finish quests faster, you grind things in half the time. It's crazy. I mean, no one talks about it.
That's insane.
I mean, people like, that's another thing that gets lost in translation with a lot of WoW knowledge in general, though, is because people will be like, oh, well, if you're leveling any kind of melee class or warrior class, you want something that's higher level, that's not that, so you can funnel gold and gear into it. But this is actually like the intricate part of what they're talking about, because getting yourself a green two-hander or green one-hander at low levels speeds it up a lot. So I guess for classic launch, the best thing you can do is just pay attention to chat, because people are going to find them and they're not going to use them. I mean, like, what's a warlock going to do with a two-handed sword? So just got to try to, like, it's okay to spend money early on, because they're also not going to be crazy expensive either. No one's going to be able to charge so much. So, but if you've got like 15 silver to your name and someone's like, yo, 14 silver for this two-hander, yeah, it's worth.
Yeah, it's well, the other reason people don't talk about it is because only a few classes can capitalize on that level weapon. You have to have the weapon skill. And I go through the list. There's only 7 race combinations that can actually use any of those weapons, and a few zones can't use any of those weapons at level 5. So it's like the treasure chest just turns into vendor loot for you. It's additional money for ice cold milk if you're a mana user, or you could buy some other consumables like bread, or just training weapon skills. So in this forum post, we also map out all the battered chests in these 1 to 10 zones. So if you know where they are specifically, there's 2 in the starting zones, especially in the undead. You can run, as soon as you log in, you run straight to this one house. It's surrounded by the passive zombies in this house. It's uncontested. Like you can just run straight there. You'll be the first one to get it. And as an undead warrior, if you get the two-handed sword, you're the only race class combination that can use the green two-handed sword at level 5. So and sorry, I'm talking a lot, guys, but the point of this post was to put you ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Whether that's speeding up, like if you get behind, you can do a high level quest that gives you an overpowered weapon that allows you to grind and you get back ahead. Things like that. So,
and I can tell you right now, each time I've played this game, I have been lucky enough to get Warrior's Pants right off the bat, to either get the training sword or the I think it's the Severing Axe. Thank you. I almost said Silvering Axe. The Severing Axe as a warrior, and it makes it so good.
Yeah.
Like you go from literally doing nothing. It shows you how gear dependent warriors can be even earlier on.
Yeah, because
like,
warrior
give
pants
them
have
one
like...
good...
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, sorry. The warrior pants come with the 1 stamina, but I also thought they could spawn with like 1 stam, 1 strength, or like 2 strength, 1 stam. But that might have been a private server thing.
Yeah, I don't know if the warrior pants specifically can. I think warrior pants are specific to the 1 stam, but there are definitely...
Or it's the Severing Axe that's giving me a ton of stuff.
Yeah, the Severing Axe definitely gives you... But then there's like cadet pants, I think are like a level 7. Those can have like different kinds, like cadet pants of the bear or strength or whatever. But like also like that's another big thing. You don't really get... you get like a leg upgrade with warriors at like around like level 4 or 5 or something, and that's like 50 armor, I think, or 60 armor. But then like warrior pants are level 5 greens, and I think they have, it's either 94 or 113. I can't remember what the value was, but that's a shit ton of armor at that level. Like that's almost an entire shield that you're just adding to you, especially if you get those off the bat or something. Or like you don't get a chest piece for a while on one of the races. I can't remember which one it is, but if you get like Warrior's Chest or something, that's what it is. The Warrior's Chest has 113 armor. The first shield you get from the level 5 quest is only 55 armor. So you're literally getting like 2 shields just thrown on your chest. It's ridiculous.
Let me ask this. How many people are familiar with the sharding mechanic? Now, sharding is in retail, right?
Yes, technically.
Yes. Yep.
And it may not be the exact same, it may not be implemented the same way as retail, but I've heard of people, exploiting the system, right? You could exploit these treasure chests. Like, say you want to get into a different shard. You get into a shard, you leave a group, another person invites you to a group, right? You get into a different shard and you just farm these treasure chests. That's a possibility. Yeah. I'm not trying to promote that. But I can
totally see guilds taking advantage. Sorry to interrupt you, but I totally could see guilds taking advantage of that to make sure that their players that are sitting there and waiting are geared. When you just grab somebody, just go ahead and give them a quick thing. Bam, you're off to the races.
Or just like everybody just like jumping around from group to group within guilds, because they're all going to be BOEs that you get, and then you're just like, okay, well, a guild could just, I mean, everyone could do it, but like just jumping around from group to group to group to group on these chest spawns, and then it's just like, oh, okay, I got the warrior's pants, who got, the reinforced fighting stick or whatever, trade me real quick.
Who needs a bag real quick, who needs this, that, thing, so.
But yeah.
There's so many different things, and that's kind of what I wanted to dive into. There's so many different variables that are going to happen during Classic WoW launch that aren't, that have never happened in the past, specifically the sharding mechanics. So I thought that was interesting.
Since we're on the subject of sharding real quick.
For sure.
Oh, God. Let's discuss it. We haven't had Caperfin's input on it before. We kind of know ours, but Caperfin, how do you feel about sharding?
Well, I don't know if you guys have experienced every single launch of World of Warcraft's expansions, but they've never been able to launch smoothly.
No, they haven't.
Implementation of sharding was the one event where a World of Warcraft expansion launched smoothly, so sharding was necessary. Come Classic World of Warcraft, I believe sharding should be maybe for 2 weeks afterwards, once the overall hype dies down. It would be quite convenient to either remove sharding or perhaps not be so aggressive on it. So that's my opinion.
No, and I'm kind of in the same boat with you. Like, trust me, I don't want it because it ruins PvP late game. But like, if it can alleviate something in any capacity at the beginning, at least to make the server stable, even if it does force the bottleneck towards later on, like Pogren always hates he hates to talk. Or he says that it's terrible because it just pushes the bottleneck later. But still, if that means that the servers will stay up and not crash, I'd rather have the bottleneck later and have a stable server than just have a bottleneck at the beginning and have a shitty server.
You don't want to shoo away the casual players who are going to come in and say the computer crash or something like that. You don't want them to leave. The hardcore players will stay, even if the server crashes 15 times in a row. You got to keep the attention of those casuals.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care. Like, I will sit there. Dude, when one of the servers opened, and, I mean, I sat there with, like, trying to get in around, like, 12K people. I was there spamming that thing for 6 hours straight. Just, like, every time I'd go down, I was like, oh, doing it. Don't care. Gonna stay here. I've taken off work. I'm sitting here and playing this game. I don't care. And that was, you know, not official. So,
Yeah.
official.
Listen to this.
Clicker and just constantly spam the login.
Well, wait, what do you guys think? Will there truly be that much of a bottleneck? I mean, it depends on the amount of servers that they introduce initially, but the hardcore players are going to be so far ahead from people that have never played before. They're going to be halfway through the next zone by the time new players get in. And I think the majority is going to be new players. I don't know how long it takes from 1 to 10 for a casual to get through the content compared to a speed leveler and how far ahead they get in the next zone. But that's what do you think about that?
Here's my reasoning behind this, because right now, let's go off the fact that, let's say they realize that like the sharding isn't going to sit well with a lot of people. Let's now put all these people on the same playing field. We have maybe, let's say, orc starting zone, 500 players zone in. Got another 500 sitting over in the undead starting area. Got another 500 sitting over in Mulgore, and then you have 500 in each of the different zones. So you just spawned 500 people all at once into one zone and told them, good luck, have fun. It doesn't matter if you're a great speed leveler, if you have any, you may be able to get a leg up here or there, but it's going to cause that huge upstart where we're going to have to deal with spawn camping and everything like that. Now let's add sharding on top of this. We don't know how big the shards are. They could be 100 people, and you still run into the same thing. No matter how much you practice, the one thing I would say is always prepare for the worst. Like, there's a really famous saying that deals with, there was something else I can't remember. Oh, I just lost it. But basically it talks about, like, if you're planning to succeed, don't. Like, understand that no matter what you do, you're most likely going to fail your first attempt. And, like, people are going to probably try this over and over and over, and they're probably going to get better at it. But right off the bat, I think the shards aren't going to be small enough where people are going to take advantage, are going to be able to push through the content faster than everyone else and go from there. I just don't think it's feasible to have them that small. Like, to 5-man shards. Literally, I want to log into this game, and I want to know there are other people. I don't want to be in a 5-man shard.
Yeah.
It also having all of that armor available, all of that stuff right off the bat, also causes a huge issue for the economy.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So, like, if everyone's grabbing a bunch of greens right off the bat, that means people are funneling them. So let's say we have a guild. They want to go ahead and funnel all the gear to the people they want, and then they're going to take whatever extra gear they got, vendor it, and they're going to instantly start getting gold right off the bat. So these people are going to be walking around. They're going to have their level 100 mount right off the bat, basically. Oh, I mean, probably not that extreme, because it's only one zone. It's not every zone. But at the same time, like, the money adds up pretty quick, because some of those greens are worth a couple silver. I mean, it's probably going to take you a couple times, especially if there's as much sharding as we think there's going to be. Then the respawns might actually be upped a little bit, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you might end up seeing you might see like an inflation of gold. And hey, Al, welcome to the game. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the game.
Bags are 50 gold. Welcome to the game.
I don't know. I can see some negatives to it. I don't have a good enough argument. At least I can't phrase it well enough against it.
I mean, there's negatives and positives on both sides of the fence, which is the bad thing about it, because this is why it's one of the topics that keep coming back up, because no matter who you are, you see positives to both sides and you see negatives to both sides. You can't say that one side is actually better than the other, but the most defining argument would be #no changes.
Yes.
But then again, you've still got to look at it and be like, that was a different time. Things are completely different now. Servers have better stability, but also it's going to be a bigger launch, I think. I mean, do you think it'll be a bigger launch than original? I think it'll be bigger.
Yeah, sharding has to be implemented.
Unfortunately.
I don't know.
I don't know about sharding. I think something else. We can kind of talk about this. This is where I want to open up the forums to alternatives to sharding and
What's your
dynamic
alternative
respawn.
then, Gogran?
My alternative, my alternative is hashtag no changes. So hashtag no changes. But if they had to do something else, it would be reinforced servers themselves. Like I understand, like if I was Blizzard right now, I would be doing stress test after stress test after stress test right now. We have open alpha for them. They are working on it as a company. If they are not taking their time in simulating this and they don't have the technology to simulate this, I'd be worried about the game. But I know Blizzard and I know the amount of money they have. I am pretty darn sure that they are being dedicated enough to test these servers for launch.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be a big concern of mine, knowing that every launch we've had this game before has crashed and died burning, like wriggling on the ground, and
Yeah.
people have just been sitting there pointing at it and going, "Ha ha!" Like I would be testing that shit. Personally, I think it'd be reinforced servers. That's my point to reiterate.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Matt. Yes.
Even in Warlords of Draenor, man, like that late in the game, it was miserable on launch night. Me and my friend woke up at midnight, ready to just roll on this game and just go ham, and it literally took us over an hour just to get in the freaking like dark portal. It was the stupidest thing ever. I'm like, yo, this game has been out for like 10 years now. What are y'all doing? But yeah, let's divert back to this leveling guide here. Keep walking us through this to get Grace.
Yeah. So we're talking about weapon progression being advantageous, and like I said, it's this guide. It's only going to benefit the people that aren't experienced. People who have already practiced their leveling routes, they're going to do more of a traditional leveling route, especially because of sharding. Sharding's going to benefit that strategy, at least in my eyes. But weapon progression, it could be, like I said, a way to catch back up. Like if you get a little bit behind in the 1 to 5 starting zone and you enter into the 5 to 10 zone, a wave behind all the other quests, if there's a quest that you can do above all the other waves that gives you an upgraded weapon, like for Taurens, they get the two-handed mace, and the Dwarf Paladins, they can also kill Vagash and get the two-handed mace at level 6. You could, in theory, skip that first wave of quests that you got behind on, get the upgraded weapon, and then just start grinding. And it's not going to put you ahead of the wave, but it might put you ahead of everybody else just because of the sheer amount of mobs that you're going to be able to kill with this upgraded weapon. That's just an idea, but I will talk about two of the biggest classes, the two biggest class race combinations that benefit from this from low-level quests are the Tauren, and I'll start with this. Tauren Warriors, actually you're at the Dwarf. Just stay right there.
Yeah, Dwarf.
So Dwarf, there's the level 11 elite Vagash, and there's the quest to kill him. Starts at level 6. You can pick it up as early as 6, and then only Dwarf Paladins can use it because they're the only one from 1 to 10 who have the two-handed mace specialization. Now at level 6 you can pick this up, and so I posted this on Reddit, and I actually got someone that made this really neat comment. I was just going to get 5 Paladins together. You type in looking for more, kill Vagash. You convince everybody, dude, you're going to get this sick two-handed mace, especially in a launch environment. I could see you, setting it up in the 1 to 5 zone before you hit level 6. Be like, dude, all the Paladins come with me. We're going to get this upgraded weapon. So there'd be no problem in getting a 5-man group to achieve some of these things, even if you just did it in the moment. I think you could pull it off. But this one guy, he said that you can kite Vagash, you can kite him back to the road, and there's a patrolling guard. And the way leashing should work in vanilla, you'll be able to pull him as far as you want. But I didn't even realize there was a patrolling guard on the road that you can pull him to, and that guard's going to help you kill him. It just blew my mind. You can actually pull this off as, if you have 2 or 3 paladins at level 6 and you have a guard helping you, you could totally get an 8.3 DPS weapon at level 6, which it sounds overpowered for me, or to me at least. I don't know.
The problem, not saying that you can't do that, but it's just we don't know exactly how it'll work, because that's one of the little intricate things that I remember from different iterations of the game, is that if a guard deals too much damage, I don't know what the exact percentage was. I assume it's probably around 50%, but if it deals 50% of the damage or whatever the number is, then you don't get completion for that mob at all, which is
it's a loot drop.
Lame, but that could have been something that that was probably not in the game at all during Classic, because it was probably not exploited at all back then. But then, I specifically remember in BC, you could kite the elemental rock dudes in Hellfire Peninsula to the guards, because you had a quest that you had to kill them, but they were elites, but you could kite them back to the guards, and the guards would help you kill them. But the guards did so much damage that you didn't get to loot the mob, and it didn't count for your quest. So hopefully that's not something that they carry over into this, but it's such a tiny thing that
it might get overlooked.
Like I don't think that they'll actually sit there and be like, oh yeah, what about kiting those mobs to the bosses or guard?
That's true.
And Ale brought up a cool idea here, because I know it's not necessary. We're talking about with your guide, but in TBC, people would get up to level 63 and then bypass Hellfire Peninsula. They would go in full PvE gear. They wouldn't really upgrade anything. They'd hammer through the leveling as fast as they could to get a couple levels, and then go off to the next zone. I mean, you could technically do the same thing here. You could just get the rare spawns, get the treasure chests, get geared up, do a handful of quests, and then just skip zone maybe 2 to 3 levels earlier to get ahead of everyone else.
See, I don't think I would do that, though, at all in Classic. Like, even if I was ahead in levels.
Oh, level 60, sorry.
And
At level 60, they'd go straight to the second zone with full PvE gear.
Right.
Like rating and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's like full, like, Nax gear, basically. Or BWL. No. You know, probably AQ and ZG on top of that, but, yeah, you get me.
Yeah. I just, like,
Why
in
not?
Classic, I wouldn't want to leave quests, like, stones unturned, basically. Like, because even if you do end up having a bunch of green quests that you're doing in 5 to 10 zone or whatever, and they stay green the whole time you're there, by the time you get into the next zone, that's when things actually start to slow down, and you have to start jumping around from zone to zone. So at that point, you would start to get yellow quest by the time you're starting to run out of quest in the 10 to or 12 to 15 zone or whatever that zone is, and then when you jump to another one, you would be on par, if not just a tiny bit ahead of the next one. So basically I'm just saying that, like, overall it ends up getting, like, to where it balances out, and if you skip quest, you can't go back and fix it because they're gray to you now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, then you just grind extra mobs, right?
Yeah,
and the strategy behind it is just get ahead of the wave. Once you're ahead of the wave, you're safe, right? And it's a snowball effect. So does skipping ahead, the advantage of skipping ahead and then having to grind mobs later, I don't think that it penalizes you, like you're saying, early enough. I think you get ahead of the wave fast enough, you're going to have time to grind mobs. I don't know.
I'm not talking about in a release. I'm just talking about, like, in general. But, yeah, in a release, getting ahead is more important. So if it is more advantageous to jump ahead, then yeah.
Yeah, and Caperfin, I don't know if you want to weigh in on this. What do you guys think about leaving the starting zone at level 4? Now, there are a few prerequisite quests. Like in Dunmoreau, there's a few quest chains you need to finish in order to do another quest or two in Keranos. But, like, leaving the starting zone at level 4 and getting ahead and starting that next wave, because there are minimum level quests that you can do at level 4 in the next zone. You'd have to do some research on that, but, like, would that be advantageous enough to... I don't know. You'd have to look at the minimum level requirements. It's normally 5, but I was thinking about hitting level 4, training my abilities, and going to the 5 to 10 zone.
So
I don't know. That might be big enough.
on private servers, there's a kind of meta for what quests you should avoid and when should you leave a zone, when it's best advantageous for you to do so. So for each race, there are these quests that you kind of can ignore and go to the next zone technically. So this is because people camp, respawn rates, and overall lag as well. So it's a great way to get ahead of the curve and not deal with people just mob tagging, and it's not, definitely level 4. I would need to read exactly what are the quests you can avoid. It's legitimate. Yep.
Poker.
Yeah, I mean it's a viable strategy. I don't know. And here's the thing, guys. Like I don't want to be keyed as just I'm trying to get through the leveling process. But guys, that first week, this is going to be such a unique experience. I really want to hit 60. I'm going to no life. I want to hit 60 that first week. And so that's really why I wrote this post, to get ahead of the waves so that you don't get caught. I think it'll make good content, but in a normal environment, I really want you to level slow. If you've never done this before and you're not planning on taking 2 weeks off and it's your first time, if it's your first time, I really wouldn't encourage you to speed through to level 60 on the first week. It'll probably take you a little bit more familiar with the vanilla environment. It'll take you an entire first week played maybe to hit 60. But I don't know. What do you guys think about hitting 60 right away? Like, compare that to your experience. Like, because I mean, I know a lot of people, they don't want to get through the leveling process right away just because it's such a rich part of the game. What's your guys' take on that? All three of you.
Me, like, okay, I've leveled enough. Like, I love leveling, but if I want to enjoy leveling, I'll do it at a time when, like, there's not so much to do, like, on my checklist. Like, I want to get to 60 as quickly as possible. I want to be geared as quickly as possible. I want to be, because like I am like I have the worst luck with RNG, like with drops and everything anyway. So I'm in a way I'm kind of accounting for that, but at the same time, like, what's the harm in just being 60? Like, it's not like I can't go back and do the quest. It's not like I can't go back and do like the dungeons that I missed or something. But like I can also just level another character if I really want to level. But like, yeah, I mean, and on top of that, like, we all know how terrible Stranglethorn Vale is if you're not like if you're on a fresh start and you're at the peak of leveling or something, then you're not going to be getting ganked nearly as much if you're 5 or 6 levels behind. And on top of that, if I'm ahead of everything and my friends are getting ganked, I want to be the dude to just come in and just be like, nah, it ain't happening around here, and just, like, just smash everybody who's messing with my boys. But like, so I just don't see a downside to leveling quickly, like, other than just, do I want to sit back and smell the roses? No, I've done that too many times. Like, I'm not worried about it anymore.
That's fair.
Who else?
Personally, I'm going to be trying to aim for some of the goodies, some of the little small Easter egg stuff that you have put in this list, like chests, different spawn zones. I'm be going for that a little bit on the side, but I'm not going to hard push this. I'm not going to hard push this at all. I'm going to take this as relaxed as I possibly can. I'm definitely on the other side of this, but I think trying to get ahead of the curve is going to be an unknown reality at this point. I think getting something like this is perfect because it definitely helps those people who are trying for it. But I think there's just almost, at this point in the game, a little too much. Like, I'd almost like to come back to this once we have like beta information, once we have a launch date, that kind of stuff, because then we can really start digging into this and seeing. Because we might actually have server information at that point. We might actually have like factions already picking servers out and having forum posts about who's going where, so we can actually see the balance of everything. But because like Alliance members might take something like this and they might run with it, like they might look for the server with the most Horde players on and go, this is where we're gonna have the least competition for our Alliance guild to hammer this out. We're gonna go follow this guide on this side of the world by ourselves with no competition, and they can capitalize on this like perfectly.
Sure. Caperfin, what do you think? What are your thoughts on leveling process?
Well, there is one leveling process that you guys are maybe not aware of. It's basically zerging a dungeon. This is gaining a lot of popularity on private servers right now. Basically, it involves getting a group of people that you're accustomed with and just basically going into a dungeon and running it non-stop. And this seems to be the kind of solution to make up for people mob tagging and just overall bad behavior in the starting zone. Basically, it is hell to even level from 1 till 5 in a starting zone. So if you're able to get through that hump and you're able to get eventually into a dungeon, zerging dungeon might be an alternative. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, what dungeons are we talking about? Ragefire Chasm, Dead Mines, Wailing Caverns? Those are the earliest, right?
Yeah, the earliest. If you can get into them, get a good group,
Theoretically.
optimize your comp, you can just non-stop keep going at it.
Hold on. I'm gonna tell you something real quick. Theoretically, if this is gonna be hashtag no changes, you could zerg very easily a lot of starting dungeons because Ragefire Chasm's up to 40 players, I think.
Yeah. In the early iterations of it, you could do that with
sorry, it's up to 10 players for a raid. You can't do any of the quests, but you can run it. And this is official Blizzard literature.
But yeah, if it does end up being like that, then I think that a lot of the dungeons were like that in the beginning. I think almost all of them were, actually.
There's a majority that, like, Stockades, I think, is one of the ones that's in. But, like, even Dead Mines is up to 10 players. Like, I mean...
And you can even go in at
why
level
not?
10 at Dead Mines. So, like, if you had 10 players, you could essentially possibly do it at, like, level 14, maybe?
You might be actually... I think it might be restricted, because Sane here says Redfire can be done... Oh, it can be done at level 12 by a lot of classes. Never mind.
Well,
Sorry, I just read that.
having 10 people in a group defeats the purpose, right, Caperfin? You're not getting as much experience. Or...
you might get some extra bonuses, though, because you can just keep constantly running it.
Well, you can only reset 5 times an hour, or is that a later... That's not a... there's not a cap on resets.
I don't know about that in Classic. I mean, I'd assume that would probably be something that they would throw in if they were to add something, or if something did go under the radar. That's probably a change that they would have, because you can exploit stuff like that without having the resets. without having a cap on the resets.
Caperfin, you're talking about 5-man Zerging, right?
Yeah, it's actually getting very popular on private servers right now to get ahead of the everyone else, basically.
So it's even better than just questing with one person in the normal zone. I find that hard to believe, but
So I don't know how does it compare against duo leveling, but it's not far
Sure.
off.
sure.
Well, Cargos has been definitely trying to push for it. He says there's some sort of benefits you get. I'm not sure of some experience benefits, but I can imagine getting quests done faster being that benefit. But the experience you normally would get from killing mobs is now fifth. I don't know the appropriate term for that. To clarify real quick, all dungeons except for Dead Mines can have up to 10 people in BRS as well. I think he meant Ubers. It's going to take 20 minutes to run a dungeon. One dungeon. 12 minutes, I mean. So it'd take 12 minutes to run a dungeon. I don't know. I think it's something that could be tested, and I think people could have a lot of fun with. But Zerging, to get ahead of the pack, I think that's going to be a very... If we don't have, like, Sharding, we're definitely going to see Zerging. I'm going to be sitting in a Zerg with a bunch of my friends. I plan on doing that.
Even right now on forums, on some private server forums, there are guides how to optimize your talents, how to optimize...
Dire Maul. Sorry. Dire Maul cannot have 10 players.
Dire Maul, yeah.
Yeah, Dire Maul. He said DM, so I assumed I should have meant I should have known the VCs for Vayne. My bad. I'm a pleb. I always call Dead Mines DM because Dead Mine.
No, it is VC.
I'm sorry.
We are not.
Sorry.
We are not allowing that to happen. Damn it! I am sick.
Okay, VC.
I'm sick of these private servers. People running around saying, "Looking for 3 more DM. I'm level 18." No, you can't do Dire Maul level 18. Obviously, I'm talking about Dead Mines. Dynafire. It's VC. Anyway,
there's guides written.
Oh my god.
While we're on this topic of XP being split, let's talk about mob tagging and should we think a level 60 tagging outside of a group for lower level to essentially like speed boost them.
Not give the alliance an inch.
Should that don't give them an inch? Should that be a thing in Classic or no? I'm torn because obviously it's nice to have someone running around tagging your mobs and just completely benefiting from it, but at the same time, like, I don't know, it seems cheap. It seems almost like something that shouldn't be in the game.
Well, I have a feeling. Oh, go ahead, Grace. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say, was there an issue with that? Is that considered an exploit? Because I remember the story back in the day. Swifty figured this out, right? He talked to a GM, or this is the story I heard at least, and he boosted all of his guild members.
No, I don't think it's an exploit. I think it's just it definitely got changed later on.
Ethically, is it?
Yeah. But it got changed later on, and it could be something that they could not change because the client they're using is the Legion client. So that was.
Can you clarify how it is? Go ahead.
So the way that it works in Classic and on Voldemort servers and everything is, say that I'm level 15 and I attack a level 16 mob or a level 18 mob. As soon as I've dealt damage to it, it's now my mob. Now a level 60 that is not grouped with me can come up and one-shot that mob, and
and you get
I get full XP. But on retail servers, the XP that you get is based upon how much damage is dealt in a way. So you get a percentage based on how much participation you had with the fight, so to speak. So should it be like that, or should it be like it was in Classic?
Hopefully it should be like it is in Classic, but the problem we can see with it is the fact that the engine they're using.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. If anything, I feel like
it's already polished. It might be closer to what we'd probably have in Legion.
Mm-hmm.
But that also means mob tagging would also work the same, which means it won't be until damage is dealt versus when the debuff hits.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, so this is, for some reason, whenever I was preparing this, the dream for me was Druid up to 60 and have 2 accounts, and my Druid would be on the second account, and then I'd have my primary account. I would boost all my characters with my Druid, throw thorns on my alt, just hit /follow on my level 1 character for the 60, get him to walk around mobs, aggressive mobs. They get tagged by the thorns, and you get credit for tagging the mob, and then I would just nuke it down with my Druid with a Moonfire or something. And so that was a strategy I was going to implement, but for some reason, whenever I was thinking about this, the last couple months, I was thinking that you got that decreased experience in vanilla. I don't know if I was testing it or if I was reading it somewhere, but I thought that it was already gonna be like that. But dude, if it's full, that's insane. And that was how I was gonna play, dude, because I'm planning on playing a lot. I'm gonna have 2 accounts, and I'll just boost all my characters myself.
And that was,
That's almost more efficient than having somebody else do it. It's easier to coordinate it myself than trying to get someone else together.
and that was another thing though that got changed like later on was that harmful buffs that like thorns, it wouldn't tag mobs later on in retail.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I wanted to point that
You
out.
had to actually take an aggressive action towards the mob to tag it. But
What
in
do you think,
Classic, it
Caperfin?
was like that, yeah.
Yeah, that changed to the thorns, reflective buffs in general. I think it was well warranted, actually. If I'm being honest.
No, I agree. I don't think that you should tag stuff based on a buff. I think you should have to have the aggressive action toward the mob. But
It's gonna ruin my dreams, man.
still though, hashtag no changes, please.
Hashtag no
You
change.
gotta throw the fingers up. Hashtag no changes.
Don't throw the pizza up, dog.
I'll throw the pizza. I'll throw the pizza up.
You know, and that was something I initially wanted to do. Like, I was gonna be able to, because I wanted to having a full character screen of level 35s, and then just go ham on tailoring and I did a whole video on it. I don't know why I'm spoofing. It was bags and the Arcanite bars. I was gonna get both of those professions up, alchemy and tailoring on all my 35 characters, and get them to be able to make these cooldowns, these items that are on a 2-day and a 4-day cooldown, and then just feed them the materials, and I'd have an endless stream of Mooncloth and Arcanite bars. And you know, you can only have so many Mooncloth and Arcanite bars because of the 4-day cooldowns. So I was gonna have a whole account full. That was gonna supply my gold stream, you know, from day 1 till the end of that account's lifetime. And that was kind of that was the dream setup for me. And that's how I was going to implement it. Was with mob tagging. And those are plans that I had. I wonder how many other people had plans like that. What about multi-boxing? Like, what are your guys' thoughts on multi-boxing? I don't know. I don't mean to divert too much, but
No.
yeah.
hate
Have
it.
any of y'all done it yourself?
I'm gonna be a salty old man like I
man,
normally.
it's trash. Like, it's corrupt is what it is. Because if it's ever allowed, it is literally only in place because the company or whatever site or whatever is gaining money off of it. Because that one person's gonna pay for, you know, like however many accounts. Like, I saw on a Wrath server one time, some druid ran around with, I shit you not, 40 motherfucking druids. Like,
Gee, how much is that?
I mean, well, he didn't even have to pay for it. It's just that he would buy items because instead of like grinding everything out, not that it was hard for him to grind anything, but 40 druids. Like, what do you do against 20 resto druids and then 20 boomkins?
So actually, I can talk about this. So automation and multi-boxing of characters. So this is another thing that's going to come with the updated client we're getting. The way Blizzard used to do it is it would be like on a timer, or they'd have some sort of active thing looking for bots. It would sweep the servers for anything sort of inaction, some sort of non-human moves, too fast moves, too slow moves, something like that. And it would kick people appropriately, and sometimes it messed up, sometimes it didn't. Multi-boxing, sorry, with dual boxes.
Yeah, we're
Not going multi. Okay, hold on. Let me finish my thought here real quick before I read that. So, I think we're not going to see as much. We're not going to see multi-boxing probably as prevalent as we do on private servers. We have people who probably would like to multi-box, but they're going to get on this client and they're going to get shut down within the first 10 seconds. Even botting, I don't think botting is going to be nearly as bad as people think it is, because of the way in which they have some really, really big programs right now they run. My brother can talk about this because his happy butt. Sorry, I shouldn't curse anymore. His happy, yeah. Well, you get me.
Me over here
He got-
dropping F-bombs.
Okay, well, his happy ass. There you go. You happy? He got banned for 6 months because of it. He got picked up randomly. He's like, yeah. His buddy was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, this is a program that you can't be found with it. You know, you don't have to worry about anything. Just do your thing, man. And like, he had it doing his dungeons for him. He had it doing his professions for him. He had it doing everything for him when he was at work. So he'd come home and he'd be caught up with everything he needed to be caught up for raid night. And one day he comes back, he got an email from Blizzard, and he goes to try to log on his account, and he's like, so you know how we planned on playing World of Warcraft tonight? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I've been banned for a couple months, so that's probably not going to happen anymore. I don't think we're going to see botting and multi-boxing like we do on private servers. I think it's going to be shut down real quick.
I'd like to talk about botting, if that's an issue.
Go ahead. Please
Absolutely.
go right ahead, Caperfin.
So, there is one way that you can gain a lot of money that people ignore, and it's through a software. It's not technically a bot, but it can help you fishing. So basically what this would do is you would plant your character near a puddle of water, and the software will kind of screen capture what it sees. And when it sees the, what do you call it, the bobbing head, it would auto click for you. And basically you could just AFK near a puddle of water and you'd be gaining just money while you're at work or at school. So that is technically not a bot. It's more of a, I don't know how to explain it.
It's not a bot. It's just a thing that does things for you.
Yeah.
Without you doing them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, an auto clicker might still be considered botting. They might even pick that up. Like the character's AFK, but he's still clicking.
Yeah. So I got a bit of a story here. A friend of mine had a fishing bot, right? And this was way back in Classic, and he decided one day, you know what? I'm gonna just go to school and just let it just fish while I'm at school.
Let it do its thing.
Fill my bags up. So he sets it up at night and actually was testing it with killing turtles, and he was in let's see, where was he? He was on Kalimdor by Theramore Isle, killing the turtles there, and then all of a sudden he gets disconnected, and then he's like okay, logs back in, and now he's in the river south of Arathi Highlands, in that stream under the bridge next to Grim Batol, and then he gets disconnected again, and then he logs back in and he's back in Kalimdor, Theramore Isle. And he deleted that bot. He deleted that bot real quick.
Had a mind of its own.
My speculation was that was one of the ways that they tested, because that's how I've heard before, is that before they had like all this sophisticated software to actually just automate it, check for sure, and it's done, is that they would do things like that to test and see if the person logged back in immediately and like log back in again. Because,
oh my god.
Because bots wouldn't actually do that. They would just like try logging back in once or something and then give up. Or like they would message you like a certain like weird phrase, and then if you didn't respond with like a then they were like, okay, it's a bot. Because my friend was playing one time. He was in a battleground. He had been BGing for like 3 hours or something, and he was just healing, so he was probably like a heal bot. And then he gets a message from Blizzard GM. It had the whole logo next to the name and everything, and it said like. It said, "What side of the street does the sun shine with the shoes red?" And the guy was like, what did you just say to me?"
He's like, "Okay, you're good."
And then he's like, "Oh, okay, never mind. Have a good day."
That's awesome.
So I've gotten one of those messages. I have it screen capped somewhere in my archives.
No way.
They thought you were botting, dude. That's the way they used to check.
I did it for 12 hours straight. I was trying to get my blacksmithing up in old world stuff. But yeah, no.
Shut up.
Yeah,
that's awesome, dude. That's really cool. I never played long enough, I guess, to experience that.
That's crazy. I've never actually like heard of anybody else getting those messages. So that's like that. Confirms
I remember
to
getting
me.
some weird shit.
Yeah, that confirms to me that was what they did. I mean, they probably deny it or something, but who knows?
Oh, probably, but.
I mean, botting softwares have gotten quite sophisticated over the years. I mean, how many years did it take for Blizzard to take down Glider? Very popular botting service, like 6 years, I think.
I wasn't.
I don't even know the name of any
I
of
don't
them.
even know.
Actually, now that you say Glider, I think that's the one my friend used. No, it sounds familiar.
It was just going strong for so many years.
I couldn't tell you the one my brother used. It used algorithms, and it actually took user data from the game. They
so weird,
masked it. Like people truly really hard. Oh god, I can't talk. People really want this bad enough that they're going to be coding basically the smartest AI they possibly can afford. And then some of these people will get actually busted, and they'll get hired on by Blizzard to
Mhm.
prevent it from happening.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Catch Me If You Can. They just they hire the criminal because I need a
Right.
help.
Well, and that's what sucks, dude. Is there's such a huge incentive, especially in Classic WoW. The way it's set up, dude. Gold, it's not. I mean, I know gold farming is still a thing on retail nowadays, but dude, think about these gold farmers in other countries like just salivating right now because it's going to be in such high demand. It's so hard to obtain gold in vanilla WoW. It has so much more value than retail. Like, dude, this is going to be an issue in Classic WoW, which sucks. It sucks that they're going to be able to manipulate this.
It depends on the server we're on. But
Why do you say
I
so?
should say that. I should say it just depends, because I have a feeling a lot of this stuff that we're like, this kind of stuff isn't going to be as possible as people are expecting it to be.
Why do you say so?
Because the private servers themselves are limited with how much they can actually do, and several private servers have already been. It's already been discovered that those private servers have what's the word I'm looking for? They have been found. The information came out that they were supplying these gold farmers with accounts. They wanted them there because they were making money off. Right?
Sure.
So, if you try to bring that into current day WoW, Blizzard doesn't need them to make them money. So Blizzard's going to see any sort of report for gold farming, and they're going to probably take it very seriously, and they're going to probably have human eyes on the situation.
Mhm.
Unlike, I would say, a private server, where Blizzard has the bodies to do this, to prevent it, unlike private servers. You get me?
Yeah, but dude, what about the whole thing that's happened a month, 2 months ago, where they laid off everybody? They're trying to get automated systems in place.
Well, don't get me wrong. Those were community people and some GMs, but you still got to imagine, like, they probably have a huge GM staff, and a lot of companies, what they'll do, and I've seen this before, is they'll lay off a bunch of people to save face and make it seem like they're saving money, and they will turn around and hire back about 75% of the workforce they just laid off.
Sure.
So there have probably been internal job postings for GMs. There have been probably internal job postings for new content creators. Not content creators. I mean,
Game masters.
not game masters. The forum people, the guys who are community leaders.
Right, managers.
Managers, community managers. Sorry, there have been probably tons of those positions actually already filled. Thank you. I'm really like words and me. English ain't doing good tonight.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not shutting you down. It's just that's all speculation right now. Like, are we gonna see gold farmers? Are we gonna see all the dead bodies in all cities? Like,
I mean, we might see that. We might see that.
Dude,
I
that
don't
was
think
one
it's
of
going
my
to be as
favorite
bad.
things, and
Yeah.
it's so nostalgic for me. And Caperfin, you can weigh in on this too if you remember seeing that. I want to stay on the topic, but it's more of a nostalgic kind of thing. But dude, I remember walking into Ogremar and seeing tons of bodies. I wish I remember a website name, but and I was always fascinated. I was a kid at the time. I didn't know what it meant. I really thought that it was just a bunch of people playing a joke. It had too much time in their hands. I was like, oh, dude, I only have 10 characters. I didn't understand the process, but I didn't really understand what was going on at the time. It would feel okay to me if I saw that in cities. I might just laugh. I mean, I don't know.
It might just be perfect.
It might just feel right. I don't know.
You know what? Oh, good. We're logged back into Classic WoW for the first time. Ah, finally, the gold seller corpses spelling out "buy gold here."
No changes. Caperfin, do you remember that at all? Do you have any?
Yeah. It was in Stormwind. It was in Ogremar.
I remember singing in Orgrimmar.
It was
Most
the
open thing.
female troll body that I saw the most. I think it like laid out the
Yeah.
longest or something. so they were just like, we're just gonna take like 20 of these and write like, what is it? I don't even know any of the names anymore. Guy
That's
for
awesome.
game. That was one of them. Guy for
Yeah,
game.
they kept.
I love the one that was robbing you blind. But it was like BLND or something like that. It wasn't actually like there was a gold selling corpse. The first one I came across when I played when I first got my subscription and I walked to Orgrimmar for the first time in 2006. I remember finding a bunch of dead bodies and I clicked over one. It was robbing you blind.
Nice.
But, yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, let's move into let's see. I was gonna say we can go over some Twink stuff. I've got some information on it. We can do.
Oh yeah, I love this topic.
We can do a little bit of a workshop, so to speak.
Are we talking 19 Twinks, level 1 Twinks?
I
29,
think that the
39?
only real thing here is going to be 19, 29, 39, 49. I don't think that anything up past 49 is worth doing. But let's explore.
Caperfin salivating over here, dude. He's got all ins and outs.
You about that Twink life, dog?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm all about that shaman PvP,
Oof.
Storm Strike,
God, I love you.
Flurry Axe.
Yeah, see, I'm gonna have to get your help when I put together the shaman pre-PvP BIS guide that I'm gonna make next, because
Sure.
I think I know it. I think I know it, but I want to get confirmation on the choices I'm making for gear because there's a lot of intricate stuff to go over. But yeah, so let's look at. I've got a talent calculator pulled up here. Let's look at potentially what talents we could go with. Now, I guess first what we would have to do is figure out the weapons that are going
Which
to be
class
best.
are we going with first?
Are we talking
Rogue.
we're doing 19
We're going
rogue?
rogue first.
19
Okay, so
rogue. Let's just do the talent builds and weapons, because gear, I mean, yeah, there's a ton, but like, let's just do the talent build and the weapons for
we're talking level 19, right?
Yep, 19,
19.
and then we'll do 29, and then we'll do 39 and
God.
49.
Hold on.
Okay, but you have to preface because PvP is very broad. You have to
Mhm.
say pre-made. You have to say the
Mm.
exact battleground. Are we talking WSG? Are we talking AB? You have to kind of
Well,
preface what you're.
Okay, so if we're doing 19, then obviously it's only going to be War Song, but
Mhm,
I've
yeah.
never been a part of a like Twink pre-made thing. I've always just done my
No way.
solo thing.
Yeah, that of course that's more
Yeah.
natural, anyways. But I mean, Caperfin, yeah, dude. Okay, pre-made on pre-made, that would be a discussion to have, Caperfin, where a lot
Oh,
of this. That would hold more weight if it's a pre-made against anything else.
Yeah, so well, what would the differences be between like your gear and your talents for pre-made versus solo play?
Pre-made Twink has been optimized to such a level where you don't even bring certain classes.
Oh
So,
wow.
Yeah. I don't
Well, I
even
can see that because
I don't even
there's
wanna
like
discourage people.
no, I can see that because there's certain classes that are just straight up useless at 19. Like I
Yep.
can't remember exactly which ones, but I feel like Priest was low on the meter there, or am I wrong? Maybe
Yeah,
Priest was
Priest
high.
is low.
But
Well-
Priest has power word shield.
Hang on,
Mhm.
Caperfin, and you may. It sounds like you have a little bit more experience with this. Wouldn't you just bring 10 maxed out 19 rogues? Or I mean, I know hunters are a thing too. You know, the agility classes really shine
Yeah.
in the level brackets. Like healers, they don't do crap, and agility classes have such an impact. You're just gonna nuke people down. There's no reason to have a healer. Wouldn't that be
No.
best or no?
No, most tank gear has a decent amount of stamina,
Okay.
and a lot of your gear has high armor to begin with. Naturally, high stamina comes with it goes in sync with it.
Sure.
No, having 10 rogues or, as you said, 10 hunters is really not ideal.
That's fine.
So what would
Yeah.
the meta be for the level 19 bracket? Roundabout.
Okay, roundabout. So there are a few weapons that
Mhm.
you can get that would kind of save you from being a quote unquote subpar class for pre-made. There is a two-handed axe for warriors. I'm not sure what's the name exactly.
Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can find it.
If you're able to get that weapon, you can kind of be more accepted amongst pre-mades.
I'm not familiar with anything outside of Rogue, honestly, just personal experience. But I overlooked that because I haven't really encountered tanking Twinks in the past. I have to some extent, but not a pre-made it. So it was really just Rogue on Rogue, and I never took into account the high armor, the high stamina. I've seen a couple people maxed out like 2,000 plus health, which is insane
Oh,
at
yeah.
level 19, right?
Mhm.
What's the max health cap? Do you know, Caperfin? Do you have general numbers?
I've seen 4.2 is the
No
highest.
way.
4.2. Yeah.
What? That is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think my Twink back in the day was like 1,900. Maybe I don't think I hit the 2K bracket.
Yeah, I had
I
a
can't
rogue
imagine
Twink that was
4.2.
like 2K, and I remember having rune cloth bandages and being able to get an entire full heal off of one. And I was like, oh god. Okay, so the axes I'm looking at here. Are you talking about Night Reaver? Is that the two-hander for 19 bracket? It's got the highest DPS, but not the highest damage.
Yeah. It should be very obvious.
It has the chance on hit for Shadowy Bolt,
I believe so. Yeah.
60 to 90 damage. Yeah, we'll see. But is that better? Because like, Smite's Hammer has a straight up 10 more damage on the top end than Night Reaver does. Or no, wait, 5 more. My bad.
So on some servers, Night Reaver is coded to scale with spell damage.
Oh.
By the way, Night Reaver is the two-handed axe that we're looking
Got
for.
you.
according to Dark
Yeah,
Dragon.
because that means you can get like random pieces of gear that have like plus shadow damage on them, and then that thing
Yeah,
can
so
be
get some enchantments
some
too.
servers have it coded differently. It will either be the 1 to 5 shadow damage that scales, or the shadow bolt that scales.
I guess it would depend on
Either
where
or.
the itemization lands. Because can we put this in the terms of? Can we see what that would look like at a 1.12 itemization? Can we do that in Classic TV?
I mean, I don't think they got changed at all, or that one like specifically probably didn't get changed at all between the beginning and the end. It would just only difference would be how the server internally functions with the shadow damage and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a thought. I want to hear everybody weigh in on this, just to keep it fresh. What about cross-realm battlegrounds? You know, because there's going to be a bigger demand for these Twink pre-mades. You may not have seen it in the past as much, but there's going to be servers where there's a couple pre-mades made, maybe just one, that's just always dominating the 19 Twink bracket, and the cross-realm battleground that they implemented in 1.12, which was like with 2 or 3 servers, that would alleviate maybe some toxicity that you're going to get from one pre-made on one server, on one faction.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? Like, because I feel like twinking in Vanilla WoW is going to be so much more popular than it already was, to the point that it could be really toxic, you know, a couple hours a day, whenever this pre-made comes on. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? And we'll get back on that. But
I don't like. I mean, the whole point of twinking, like, yeah, you can, if you're going up against other twinks and whatnot, it's a whole different kind of game. It's a different meta. It's more fun. It's entertaining, just because it's just different. But
Sure.
I like the twinking aspect because I do just feel like logging in and just casually like one-shotting somebody my own level. That's fun. I mean, yeah, it doesn't take skill, but like you don't have to have skill to do every aspect of the game to enjoy it. Like if I want to like express my skill or whatever, I'll do max level PvP. But so I mean, like I'd prefer it in a way where there's less pre-mades, just because. But that's like my selfish way. Like, what would be better? Probably if there were more pre-mades, because then it would be more advantageous for anybody to do battlegrounds, because some pre-mades might not be full. You might only have 5 or up to 8 people in your group, and then, you know, go up against another one that's the same. But if you're on the shit end of that, where you're just like, oh, our team has no twinks and there's 10 on the other team, that's obviously not fun. So it would probably be better if there was the cross-realm battlegrounds in that situation. But,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, because I know that was a big issue that a lot of people are struggling with, and I could just see it. I could see it being toxic for that whole. Because I mean, it's fun to jump into a battleground at 15, 16, and you know you're quite. And the leveling process is so slow in vanilla. You want to do that from time to time, and I don't know if that would be a big enough issue that it would vouch for cross-round battlegrounds. I didn't know if.
Oh no, I
may not
don't
be
think
big
they
enough
would ever base it off of something like that. But
Right.
there's definitely food for thought there.
Yeah. Sorry. We can get back to
No, you
talking
good.
about that.
You good. See, okay, so this is a question though. Since you have more knowledge in this field, Caperfin, is it that like warriors and pallies specifically just go two-handers? Because what I remember was people getting like Cruel Barb and Redbeard's Crest and just being like super tanky and still being able to deal a substantial amount of damage. Or is that another way to do it, or is that just completely like outdated and wrong?
So in pre-made, it's all about burst.
Gotcha.
It's all about thinking either potions or if you really want to win a pre-made, there's items you get from completing quests. For example, faintly glowing skull, which deals shadow damage, and that scales with spell damage. So there are these neat little tricks you can do. And kind of pre-mates try to one-up each other by trying to save these quest reward items to use on each other. But besides that, typically classes that use mana and pre-mates are not really looked upon. You're mostly looking at warriors, the occasional rogue. You're looking at warlocks because of life tap. But yeah, traditionally you don't want to bring too many mana users in a pre-made.
But okay, faintly glowing skull, is it not a one-time use?
It's a one-time use. Yep.
Oh, well, that sounds. Oh, that's rough, because then you're just like,
That is rough.
I've built all this shadow damage, and I get to use this on one person in one battleground one time. Like, oh, that's devastating.
Better equip it.
That
Get
is
it ready.
Devastating.
you would have a whole guild of twinks trying to save their faintly glowing skull for a certain occasion, whether it be
Shut
to
up.
take down a flag carrier.
That is
Or-
so ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
basically.
see,
Yeah.
that's the good thing about Classic, though, because, like, as crappy as that is in that sense, where it's like, we got this one thing that we're gonna do, but, like, that's, like, something that it's just something you do. Like, it's just
Yeah.
adds a level to the game that other games don't have.
That's
It can
hilarious.
give you the game if you time it properly. If everyone is coordinated, everyone is just focusing the flag carrier. You can just use the skull and
I can just imagine, like, people just, like, a whole group of people just running up to the flag carrier, like, all right, everybody, got your faintly glowing skull out.
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1, we just hit him for 5,000.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's all people would be using this. The what is it? The really sticky glue.
Yeah.
That's another quest you get from Senjin Village.
Yeah.
Yep.
But also, real quick, D-Dark Dragon, I don't think experience gain. He says, can you stop your experience before BGs come out in Phase 3? You're not really. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, no,
that's
the
you're not
turning
going to gain
off-
experience from PvP.
Yeah, the turning off XP doesn't exist in Classic. It was something they implemented in Wrath, I believe. And
Yeah, I
it
wanna say
put
so.
you in a separate battle group as well. You could only
That's
go
sad,
against
right?
people who turned off their XP. Hey, what's up, Nigel Black? But yeah,
Alright.
so what's the talent that we do for rogues at 19? Do you know this, Caperfin? I believe I know it, but I could be wrong.
I thought it was.
So
I had an
there's-
idea of 2 of them as well.
so there's secret memes involving very try-hard stuff.
Oh, Lord.
But let's just go with the basics. You want to stick with. Oh, actually, man, this is really depends on your weapons.
Yeah. We actually, that's what we need to do. Is what are
Yeah,
the
you
rogue
can
weapons? Do
grab
you go with
weapons and, like-
Assassination's Blade? Assassination.
Well, somebody
Blade?
said Assassin's Blade, but I
Or
couldn't
Shadow.
find Assassination. Couldn't find Assassin.
Assassin's Blade. Yeah. Because that's the daggers you go with for sure, right?
I think so.
You get
Or
2
Shadow
of those.
Blade if you want the high DPS sword.
Shadow Blade. That's because that's what my
Yeah.
buddy had a Shadow Blade, and then he had a dagger in his off. There's also that hat from fishing, but that's neither here nor there.
Shadow Blade's a 48 dagger, huh?
Shadow
Hello?
Fang. Shadow
Oh.
Fang.
But Caperfin, would it be wrong to state like Malice and Opportunity maxed out, or do you think we should spread the points around? Because
So
Malice will give you 5% crit, and then Opportunity to give you a 20% chance to increase damage dealt while striking from behind with backstab, garrote, and ambush.
So, I mean, you have to pick your fights according to your spec. So, if you're
Mhm.
going for subtlety, you're
Mhm.
aiming for clothies
Okay.
mostly. But if you want to keep things safe, I like to put 5 points in malice,
Okay.
just because we have a fast attacking weapon.
Mhm.
Yep.
Fast weapon means more crit, more often. So, just as a safety, right? I'm not going to go into the secret stuff.
Yeah. No,
Right.
I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
And then where do you go from there? Because you got, 5 points left? Because you don't get much here. But, so do you just stay in Assassination, or do you go for Opportunity?
So if you're playing in a random group with random assortments of levels,
Mhm.
I would actually put points in remorseless attacks.
Mm-hmm. That makes
Um,
sense.
Yeah, if you're in a pre-made, don't put points in that. You're
Yeah.
never gonna use it.
So
yeah,
then,
so you put-
if you're in a pre-made, what do you go for?
How many hours do you have? Because it depends on
Oh, okay. I see.
it depends on race. It depends on faction.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, well, just a general thing here for if you're gonna go daggers, I would say go Malice, and then like this is where I guess it comes down to play style. But like if you're just trying to like run around and like ambush people and try to one shot them, then I would probably just go 5 into Opportunity, just because it just gives you more ambush damage.
That's
Yeah,
what I was
would
thinking.
put points.
Yeah.
Also,
That,
sorry to interrupt real quick. Vomp just sent us a Baron's forum post for a level 19 Twink guide. If you guys
Oh,
want to check
nice.
it out, it's linked in the Discord.
Mhm.
He says it'd be very useful.
Who in the hell?
That literally looks just like the character my buddy made. I had a buddy
Oh,
I'd
the
played with
fishing
for a
hat?
long time. His name, yeah, the fish. That's the fishing hat. I'm almost
Yeah,
positive.
classic, classic stuff.
He got to level. He's like, He got to level 70. He started doing raids, and then he was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a level 19 Twink. And he gathered all the level 19 Twink stuff he needed. And he's like, okay, now I gotta. He went between like warrior. We were sitting there one day. He's like, I'm gonna do a rogue. And then like, there was this period of time where he's like, guys, I have to go fishing this weekend. And I'm like, oh, you fishing with? He's like, oh, I'm fishing with my uncle. So it sounded like he was actually going out and fishing because he'd do it at he'd do it at 6 a.m. Like he'd do it early morning fishing stuff like you normally could do, or he'd do it later in the evening or like right after it rains. And so it kind of matched in our brains. And I'm like, hey, I got to come over real quick and grab something. Can I come over? He's like, sure, come on over because I left something there. And there he is in the basement on vent with his uncle. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing? He said you were fishing.
I thought you were going fishing. I am going fishing.
He's like, I am fishing. Exactly.
That is kind of sweet, though, actually.
He got his hat. He got his hat after like I think a month of trying for it. He got his. Or the fishing thing's only once a month, isn't it? Maybe it was.
No, it's once a week, every Sunday.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
That was the cool thing about like Classic though, man. Like, I remember. Okay, in BC, I'm gonna get sappy here for a hot minute. I played Blood Elf Rogue for a minute in BC, and I had a girlfriend at the time. It was my first like real girlfriend, and we legitimately, I had the freaking Valentine's Day picnic basket. But like we would get on Vent and go sit in like some stupid like place and just sit there and talk and sit at the stupid little picnic basket. I was also like 15 or 16 at the time, but like it was the stupidest thing ever. And I was like, but like you don't do that stuff in games anymore, man. There's nothing that's like
no, you don't.
Just like, you know, we're gonna go do something fun and, you know, in the game and like hang out in the game.
Yeah. I don't want to be rude to the people who still play because I think there's stuff that people can still go do together.
Oh yeah, but no one does.
In current WoW, but very small percentage, of the player base.
Dude, there's the coolest place in Stranglethorn Vale. It's like this little like kind of bay area that comes in, and then if you look, there's like a little path you can take up, and there's almost like a high dive into that area. That's been like the coolest little place I've ever seen in the game. I wish I had like a clip of it or something. But
in the southern part near yeah. It's right outside of Pooty Bay, I think.
Yeah, I would go there all the time just because I just wanted to like jump off, like dive off or whatever. But obviously there's no animation for it. But whatever.
So how long does it take to fully gear a 19? Ooh. Guys? And let's exclude the Arena Grandmasters from this because it's double Arena Grandmaster, right? Even though you only get one cooldown, you don't use both. And you get the plus, how much is it? Plus 12 stamina?
No, it's well the regular trinket that you get that you have to
it's
get
the dodge.
Yeah. No. The regular one is plus 5 stamina, and it's just Arena Trinket or whatever, Arena Master Trinket. But then
no. Yeah, I'm talking about the blue one though.
Yeah. The blue one, it doesn't have any stats. It's just absorb shield, I think.
I think it's absorb and dodge.
Oh yeah, 1% dodge, 1% dodge. Yeah, you're right. Absorbs 750 to 1251 damage. But yeah, that was fuck that. What were you gonna say?
I'm just trying. Caperfin, you might be able to weigh in on it. What else do we have? We have the fishing hat, and then the weapons. Though that's best in slot, right? And you don't necessarily have to, but let's take into account getting the rare BOEs. You're either gonna pay a fortune for them, Assassin's Blade and Shadowfang, if you do go for the Shadowfang. How long does it take to pick those things up, guys? I remember back in the day, I tried to farm Shadowfang Keep for, I think I tried like 20 times. It never dropped, and then I quit just because I was like, I'm not going to sit here and do it all day. But how long do you think it could take to get a best-in-slot 19 Twink Rogue in Vanilla WoW? Because this is a project. This is content, guys. This is something that could keep you busy. If you were to farm it yourself instead, I mean, you could supplement it and just scourge the auction house, farm gold another way, whether it's the Armal runs or something else that's creative in creating gold. But how long do you think it would take without buying items on the auction house? Could you spend up to a month of played time trying to get?
Probably more. I could almost, depending on the items you have to get. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
It depends if you're on a fresh server. Obviously, if you're on a fresh server, it might take more time because you don't have a main. But if you're playing on a server that's already been out for a while and you perhaps have a level 60 or high level character in general, obviously it's going to be faster.
Sure.
There are things you can do. For example, you can get, I believe it's Lesser Arcanum of Constitution.
Or whichever one. Yeah, Constitution.
Yeah, whichever one you can put on your head. And it's something like 100 HP, which is a lot when you're a twink.
Yep.
So that puts you ahead by so much.
You get the same one for your legs too, so that's straight up 200 health.
But in general, it shouldn't take you that much time to get your best in slot weapon. There are other things out there that take way more time.
It's the
to get
gear.
weapon.
It's
Yeah.
not it's not the weapons. It's definitely the enchantments and the gear.
And there's
So-
some
Yeah.
pieces that you have to get from like dungeons, like blackened. I don't know what exactly, but for example, blackened Defias tunic, or if you were to get cruel barb or something, like you've got to start running those dungeons at level 10, just getting like carried. Like someone goes through and just kills everything. Boss is about to be pulled. You
Right,
run in and
right.
get to the boss. They kill it because you can't keep getting all the XP
Experience.
to level
Right.
up. So like that's one of the things that just sucks, because you're just like, okay, well, hopefully it drops this time. And as I said, my RNG is hot garbage, so
Right.
I never get what I need.
Mm.
Let's see,
Uh,
Nigel, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm just curious. I never got the lucky fishing hat back. My freaking family always went to church on Sundays, dude, and I never. The way the time zone worked out, I think it was an afternoon thing. They did like an afternoon Sunday service thing. Point is, I never got to go for the lucky fishing hat. I'm so sad. I never got the best in slot. I never got Assassin's Blade either. I think I resorted to the cruel barbs. But that's one thing I'm really excited about coming back to Classic and mastering. You know, I never got to finish that. And I think I may have done Twinking in BC or something. But that's one thing I'm excited about in the time investment, dude. That's gonna the replayability. That's one more thing I can sink my teeth into.
Yeah.
And while I'm on just the nostalgic trip, guys, do y'all like? Oh man, there's so many things I remember. Was it BC whenever you got those leg enchantments?
Yep.
It was like plus 30
Yup.
stamina.
Yep.
Cleftine armor, nethercraft armor.
Yeah, dude. And I remember I spent all of my gold on my main character. My war wasn't even capped out. I spent everything on my
Yeah,
account for that Cleftide armor, bro. And then like 2 months later, they graded out. Like you couldn't do it anymore, but you still got the enchantment. But the first 2 months it worked. But then after they hot fixed it, I still had the chat. Like I had the enchant on my leggings, but it was in red text, and I was pissed, dude. Like I was probably 12 years old at the time. I spent all of my earnings on an enchantment that didn't work anymore on my 19 Twink.
And nowadays, if you do something like that, you've got to put it on a BOE piece for a level 10, and you can do it, but you can't use it on an item that's like over a level. So whenever you send that BOA to your max level to put it on there, you are the item level goes up too high, so you can't put it on there with your max level. So you have to have a character that's like under the max level to apply the enchant. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know if they changed it, but that's how it was. That's how it was last time I tried to make a Twink on retail.
Yeah, you get a white piece of gear, I think, or something weird like that.
Huh?
Yeah. Well, that's how they do it with level 10s on retail now. Is there's tons of whites. And everything is a BOE slot, except for slots that don't have BOE or BOAs, and then you get whites and you just put enchants on them. But yeah, like if it's a BOA. Like, let's say that the leg enchant requires that the item can't be higher than level 80. Then you have to be level 80 to apply the enchant, because if you send it to the 110, then the item is now 110. It's strange, but it's weird.
Well, yeah. Are there any items like that in class?
No.
There's no enhancement. So, I mean, I don't mean to get off topic, but that Lesser Arcaname of Constitution, I'd never heard of that. You permanently add 100 hit points to a leg or head slot item?
Yeah, that's
how do you
like,
complete that high-level quest?
Oh, you can apply it through trade, I think? I think you can apply it
like
through
a normal item enchantment.
Do what?
It should be a normal item enchantment, like you can't do anything else. It's like you're saying through trade.
Yeah. Like I think you just put it in the like will not be traded slot, and then the high level does it.
I'm looking at it now. That was my. I didn't realize that was.
Because some of this.
Overlooked that. Okay, never mind. Side note. But yeah, that's interesting. Like the history of like Twinks, dude. It really fascinates me. Whether it was bugs, like things like in Burning Crusade, or even Lesser Arcaname of Constitution. Did you guys ever do level 1 Twinks? That was something that I was really interested in BC. It might have even been Wrath, dude. There was like there was this huge push for level 1 Twinks. It was hilarious. I remember seeing 5, 6, 7 of us outside of Stormwind. That was another thing I spent all my stupid gold on, was a level 1 Twink. I think that was near the end of my first run of Classic WoW, because I just ruined my account.
Freaking dodge Twinks.
Caperfin, you've got to have some experience or some thought on level 1 Twinks.
So yeah, there's several communities within level 1 Twinks. So you've got the PvP, and you've even got the PvE.
Shut up.
Yeah, there are some people who
What?
are trying to aim for as much DPS as possible. And there's one guy, a troll goat, released a video, I think 3 years ago on a private server. He was able to achieve 75 DPS as a level 1. This
On a
allowed him
classic server.
on a classic server, yeah.
That's
And he
absurd.
was able to solo, I think, a level 50 uh, mob. There's a video on YouTube
Huh?
about it.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
He had
well,
100%.
if he's dodge capped, then yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a. I could go into detail, right?
Oh, I never thought
I-
about that,
it's
dude. Think
so-
about the highlight reels. Think
I'm
about
sitting over going. I'm sitting over here on level 1 rogues.
The only the only thing I recall of anything like that was I saw. Actually, we did it one time. We all made level 1 gnomes, and we had
Level
like
1 Hogger run.
40
Yes.
of us, and went and killed Hogger, and it was the stupidest thing ever. But it was a thing.
What was it? They were doing the Voldemort test for when they were relaunching it. I hopped on there and we did I think it was 150 of us going towards Hogger. That was a blast, man.
So
That was
ridiculous.
so awesome.
I can't even. Okay, let's move on to 29 rogues. So we got the weapons that way. You're gonna either get Assassin's Blade or Shadow Fang, or I guess what was the other one? The
Cruel Barb is what I think you
Cruel
said.
Barb's
Milo.
one of them, but no, there was the one-handed sword. That was the Shadow Fang. No, what was the one-handed
No.
sword? One-handed sword was.
Knight Reaver's the axe, Assassin's Blade's the dagger, Venom Strike is the bow. I don't got anything about a sword.
There was a sword, right? I'm not crazy.
I think
Shadow something.
Shadow
Shadow, no, not Shadow Fang. I don't know. Whatever. Screw it. We're moving on to 29. So,
Okay.
I never went to 29 with rogues. What are some of the 29 weapons, Caperfin?
So right out of the gate, level 29, the most popular battleground is AB.
Mm-hmm.
So looking to do 29, you're looking at AB. Not that much WSG. In terms of weapon, I have to double check this. The meta has changed.
Mhm.
A sec here.
Yeah.
So
I
you're
was,
looking at. While I scroll down, it is a weapon that involves shadow damage, mostly
Again?
because. Yep.
Freaking
the
weirdos.
shadow damage meta. That's the thing. That's the thing.
I can't
because
deal
when
with
you're
that.
when you're low level, you have no resistance.
Oh,
So
yeah.
having shadow damage and a bunch of that other stuff, it helps so much.
So, in terms of dagger, there is Meteor Shard, which
Mhm.
deals fire damage. This does not scale with spell damage, but it has no internal cooldown,
Mm.
and it has a very high proc rate. So, this will proc a lot, especially if the server is coded for it to proc on Sinister Strike.
Hmm.
So, yeah, this is
Talking
if you
about.
can keep slice and dice part of your rotation when you're ganking someone, you couple that with Meteor Shard, you're doing insane amount of damage.
Mhm. The shadow one is that Claw of the Shadowmancer. It's a dagger.
Yes, there.
Yeah.
Yes, Claw of the Shadowmancer. Yeah.
And I remember that and Zealot Blade as well. And because I remember thinking to myself, if you wanted to go swords, I was like, wait, it's got spirit and intellect. That's terrible for rogues. But then it's got like crazy good damage.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's top end damage is really
Mhm.
high. Yeah. Yeah.
So if we're talking talents here, I was kind of playing around with it and thinking about 5 points malice, 5 points opportunity, 5 points camouflage for that speed bonus, especially if you're talking about going to AB versus Warsong Gulch. Maybe even ambush with 3 points would bring us up to 20. Oh, would bring us to 27.
Ghost Strike
Uh-huh.
wouldn't be terrible because like you're not going to be able to stay in stealth, and having that additional 15% dodge chance would be good.
You can also get additional combo points if you put 2 points into. Let me bring that back once. 2 points into INITIAV. Oh,
Initiative?
initiative. Thank you. I'm dyslexic. Please. 2 points in it gets you at 29, but then you have a 50% chance to add an additional combo point to your target when using ambush, garrote, or cheap shot.
Mm-hmm.
So you get some extra combo points. I mean, it's probably not the greatest.
No, I mean, I would.
Or do one. Oh, yeah,
I would do
just
1 and 1. I don't know the meta or whatever, but I feel like That will wait. Hold on a second.
Or Ghostly Strike. Honestly, Ghostly Strike might not be a bad thing either, because
Yeah,
that's
there is a ghost
125%.
strike there. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're one. Of course we are. I don't know why I thought we wouldn't be, but we're 1 point away from getting hemorrhage.
Yeah, you are. Which
That's
is
annoying.
just sucks.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
It's not very nice.
Well, if I do this right, because I have 1 point in Ghostly Strike, and that leaves me with 1 extra point, we probably could go drop it into Merciless Strike still and just keep that.
Instead of what?
Oh, no, just having that. So put 1 point into Ghostly Strikes and put 1 point into Recklessness. That should put us at a total of 6 points in Assassination and 14 into Subtlety, bringing us right at 29 points. Level 29.
Yeah. What you said.
Man, I think I want to make a rogue now because this is very straightforward.
Yeah, no.
I was like, I think rogues are gonna be really complicated.
No, that's one of
never
the
mind.
good things
I'll shut up now.
about just twinking in general is that like it's dumbed down, but not in like a bad way. Like you're stupid, you don't know how to play the game, but just dumbed down. Like I get to turn my brain off for a little bit and just poon some noobs.
I mean, that's why I can't wait for us to talk about Warrior because I got a lot to say about that. Oh my god, I have a lot to go over.
Yeah.
I spent probably about 48 hours of in-game time just at level 39 to twink it out, play around with.
Yeah. Caperfin, do you have anything to weigh in on the spec, or should we move on to 39?
I think we're ready to move on. I'd just like to point out that the Ghostly Strike spec is very strong. I think it's the highest burst amount of damage, so it's not consistent, but if you're looking to blow up a Clothy, it is the go-to spec.
Yeah. That's what I mean. If I was playing a rogue in a twink situation, I would not be cared about, like, doing consistent damage. I would just be trying to rip someone's face off as quick as I could and then go right back into stealth or something. But that's just... But see, that's the thing. Like, that's why I don't want to play a rogue, because that's all I would want to do, and that would get boring real quick.
Yep.
Alright, so 39. What weapons are we looking at? Are we still staying daggers, or do you go swords, or is it dealer's
I would assume
choice?
a sword at that point.
Well, let's see. Hold on. There's a Nightblade.
Well, then again, you're not getting any
that's too
bonuses
bad.
for the sword either, actually, and I think about it. You'd be probably better off doing dagger still and staying subtlety.
Yeah.
Finishing out initiative, finishing out improved sap, probably going to shredded blades, and then at 1 point to hemorrhage. And that puts you right at 39.
Mm-hmm. What were you saying, Caper?
Sorry.
So yeah, we were talking about swords. It actually depends on your race, because as you know, humans have advantage.
Well, no, but that
Oh,
doesn't...
yeah, you're right. Never mind.
No, but that doesn't matter in PvP. Weapon skills don't translate unless it's to NPCs, and they're above your level.
Probably have it differently coded, but
Probably.
glancing blows are. Yeah.
Are they... Wait, glancing blows are in PvP? So, what? I'm confused. For my understanding, for however long it's been, there's your weapon skill doesn't matter. Because remember, like, you could take... I specifically remember this for the longest time, even before BC. You could take any two-hander or something, because I would get different ones on my warrior sometimes, and I would go into a battleground, and I would be fine. I would deal so much damage. And then I'd get out of the battleground, and I had never used that two-hander or whatever. And then I couldn't hit an NPC because my skill was 1. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
there's different
is there something different? No, go ahead. Is there something different about it that, like, it's not just the hit chance, but the glancing blows or something?
Yeah, so different servers implement the whole sword specialization differently. It's hard to tell exactly where we are in terms of what's correct and what's not correct.
I feel like the talent tree should be
If you
fine.
feel like tabling that for now.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll just assume that it does work for now, so we have something to go off of. So let's say that you are a human and swords are the option. 39 rogue. What is the weapon of choice?
The weapon of choice, I believe, is a sword that drops off in... Check.
I'm not even seeing anything I really recognize here. Is it one that has shadow damage again? Because I'm tired of the shadow meta.
I don't believe. No, I think we're moving away from battle meta.
Good.
Especially once we get away from Rogue.
Oh, figured it out. There's a gun that has shadow resistance. That's why they're
Oh.
moving away from it. That's it.
That shadow resistance is going to trip you up.
Yeah.
So
Holy
there
hell.
is a sword of notable value, a dazzling longsword, which reduces the armor of the target. If you can combine this with exposed armor, you can absolutely shred mail or even plate wearers.
And it's an
So-
epic.
Yeah, it's an epic, yeah. And I should point out, I keep saying this, but on some servers, you can apply the debuff and unequip the weapon, and the debuff would still stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And on some, the debuff disappears. So
That's
when
what
you
we were talking
initiate
about
someone,
with that shaman thing.
Mhm.
Pogren.
Yes. I kind of want to. I'm hoping.
I hope it
hoping.
works that way,
Because if it does, it's BIS for warriors. It's BIS for all melee DPS except for rogue.
well, yeah,
like-
anything that can use two handers. We're talking about using a manual crowd
Manual
pummeler
crowd pummeler.
and just like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
throwing it on, getting the buff, and then taking it off. But continue. Sorry.
So yeah, initially you would try to get this debuff on your target. Once you see the debuff, you would unequip the weapon and equip something else. And yeah, basically this would help you with anyone that wears mail, plate, just
So,
absolutely
so
shred.
if it works that way, you just use it just to get the debuff, and then you swap to a different weapon, because that's a really fast attack speed for this weapon.
Yep.
And it's only 70 damage on the top end, so
Yeah, there's a whole
Looks-
rotation. Open
yeah.
with slice and dice, faster attack speed, just
so crazy. It's so weird, man. Like I'm like I've known about Twinking forever, but I've known, you know, get this gear and that gear and whatnot, but like I didn't know anything about this meta, because I'm glad I waited to do these Twink guides, because I want to put out some Twink guides, and if I would have put them out just without any of this information, I would have looked like an idiot. So I'm gonna have to get together with you on that too.
sure, yeah, no problem.
But okay, so what would the other weapon be that you would switch to?
I believe in terms of sword, we're only looking at dazzling longsword.
Oh, okay.
That was epic. I had in mind.
But is
Yeah.
Dazzling Longsword BIS for that buff, and no matter what race you are? Because if you're looking at like an axe or something, or you know another not rogue, sorry, a mace or something, then you would still want that debuff and then switch to a mace, correct?
Yeah, you still want that debuff regardless of race.
Cool.
Yep.
Grays, you are extraordinarily quiet. What's going on, man?
No.
Cogs turning.
Whenever a lot of my experience of twinking in vanilla was just in the 1929 twink bracket. But one thing that I'm interested, maybe a thought that we can all weigh in on: what's the difference between level 39 and 49 twink battlegrounds because of the mount? Like, what classes shine in 39 because of the mount? Like, that I'm curious about what 49 strategy because of the mount increase. I don't know, like shamans, hunters, and druids all have movement speed increases. I guess you could say rogue too with their sprint ability, but I don't know, that's just some food for thought I was thinking about. How different does the 39 to 49 twink bracket environment look? Can you guys weigh in on that at all? Does it look that different, Caperfin?
See-
I don't know how much experience you guys have in these brackets, but are there different strategies? I don't know.
It
got
definitely
told-
changes the meta for flag carrying before mounts, but yeah, go ahead. What were you saying, Parker?
So what I was told when I was doing my twinking, my buddy was like, "Don't go into 49, don't go into 59, because
Right.
those aren't really places you twink anymore. Because it's not. I would say you're not having that much of an advantage over other people who are playing in that time. You're, I mean, you have the capability of getting some really good gear around that time, but he made it sound like 49 twinking was not as big as like just getting into the 50s and then going to Altoric Valley. Because he
Yeah.
was big on that. He was like, why don't we just go, don't worry about it, just go, we're going to get to Altoric Valley at 49. We're not going to worry about anything else. I'm pretty sure you could go at 49 into Altoric Valley, if I'm not mistaken. You guys might know a bit more than me.
49? I think it starts at 50. I think it's a 50
Well, dude-
to 60 thing.
Yeah, well, that makes 49 twinking more appealing to me. There's not going to be any competition. I'm gonna jump in the
True.
40 bracket.
True.
I'm gonna crush, dude. I'll totally have a 49 twink sitting around.
I would probably either have a 39 warrior or a 39 shaman twink just for Pendulum of Doom. Pendulum of Doom is so absurd.
If
dude.
you get it, right?
I'm definitely going warrior and wanting to get that.
Yeah.
Like, or what I would redo is I had 2 green weapons. I cannot remember. My head one was a fist weapon. One was a really fast. One was a really slow hammer, and the other one was a really fast fist weapon. And I had in total, I think I was sitting at level 39 with just cresting almost 3k HP. I was decked out in a bunch of blues. My buddy helped me get. He made me some other gear. I had I had goggles. I didn't actually have a helmet at the time. He had goggles for me that gave me bonus agility and bonus crit. But playing a warrior, you kind of build heavily between arms and fury, depending on what you want to do. Whereas I wanted all the crit I possibly could, so I'd charge in, do a bunch of damage. Might not be able to drop somebody in that bracket because you have a lot more health pool to play around with at that time.
Yeah.
But I think if I got my hands on a Clothy, they were dead.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I don't mean to stray away from the strategy and maxing, but this is where my brain goes whenever I'm thinking of topics. And I'm thinking about maxing out that character sheet, and really, because whenever you have a twink, it's just a twink, right? It doesn't really have a purpose.
Yeah,
I might sacrifice the engineering profession to do my tailoring alchemy and do Arcanite Mooncloth bars. I literally might have a lot of my twinks also make me gold at the same time. I don't know, that's just something I'm thinking about, and how advantageous is the engineering profession in a twink bracket at level 39. I mean, I'm sure that it's different. The certain
really
items.
Good from what I understand, because there's certain bombs. There's certain
right.
There's the gadgets. Your gadgets actually play heavily the higher you get into the higher level in PvP.
But also, you can't even get like Arcanite and Runecloth and those cooldowns
Till 39.
until you're 35 because that's
Right.
Theoretically, though, if you're at 39, you could get your depending how you do this. Let's say this becomes less of your main is this twink you're making, and more of like something you're funneling extra resources you have. Because if you have a level 39 with maxed out, like I'd say, I don't know, enchant, like have them have enchanting and have them have engineering, and then you just feed all the mats they need to them. I can see in that case, I can see some different like combos of professions playing heavily into those higher end stuff. You kind of develop from just what kind of items you have and what kind of talents you're going to. I have these talents, I have these items, and on top of that, I have maxed out professions at level 39, or closest to you can get to max out. I don't think you can actually max it out at level 39, but you get me.
So the talent spec for rogues at 39 bracket, is it still just kind of like dependent upon your comp, dependent upon the battleground? What's the deal there, Caper?
Yeah, it is. It still revolves around that. If you're in WSG, you're mostly looking at burst damage in order to kill the flag carrier. If you're looking at AB, you're looking at getting to one spot to another without dying, so transitioning from farm to another location. So
more stability.
Survival is more of an issue. But yeah, it's a bit of this similar specs that we looked at before. You're just going down the tree a bit more.
You definitely want to grab freaking hemorrhage, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, the hemorrhage. Yeah, that's a popular one.
It's very nice.
I've got a question. How often do you respec as a higher level twink? Because I know in my experience with 19 and 29, I never respec. Is it that big of a deal if you're doing pre-mades or just single mode, or AB in Warstone Gulch if you're at 29, 39? Do you respec at all, or in your experience in the past, has your twink spec always stayed the same? I don't know. I don't have experience with it in that sense. I'm just thinking.
You would change quite a bit.
Really?
The difference in DPS or burst damage between one tree and another is quite big.
Yeah. So, moving on to, is it worth doing 49? Like, is there a meta for 49, or is that just kind of like, meh?
I'm not aware of it.
In pub-wise, just random people, shamans pretty much dominate 49. It'll be an uphill battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine shamans being
discourage
super
anyone,
strong.
Yeah, well, what level do shamans get Wind Fury? Isn't it like 44 or something?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they also get Storm Strike. And
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's
They're
unfortunate.
super mobile. You don't even need your mount. You can just go swoof away. Even at level 29, shamans can shine a flag carriers and stuff like that because they get ghost wall.
Yeah.
Like, And you can even throw some extra points in the Ghost Swift, depending if you want to, like, just I'm going to sit here all day, play nothing but Warsaw Gulch and be a flag carrier, because you can just reduce the cast time down to like nil.
Let's bring it back down to the 19 then, since it strays away from Rogue at 49, and let's just start with Warrior there, so you can school me a bit on the class that has been my main for 14 years. But so you said that Warriors would go with what was it? Shadow. What the frick is it?
Let me scroll up here. It's Shadow.
Night Reaver. Night Reaver.
Night Reaver. There you go.
Okay,
But
so
it's got shadow damage.
Yeah. So okay,
Shadow damage.
with Night Reaver, what are some of the other items that you want to get to go alongside it to get more shadow damage? Like, I've never even heard of them at that level. Is it just like random stuff that drops, like that has the random stats rolled on it, or is there specific pieces somewhere?
So there are specific pieces. There is some sort of rotation involving calculating the proc chance and equipping spell damage either before a fight or during. I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to go into it. It's a bit complicated. It involves an add-on and everything like that. Let me just check. 1 minute here. I'm not.
See, that's too extra for me at that low of a level.
Sorry.
Like, if I'm gonna make a twink, I'm not gonna be worried about changing out my gear based on a proc chance. You know, like if it was a level 60 thing, I'd be min-maxing the hell out of it. But if I'm twinking, I'm just trying to have some fun.
Like, man, I want to see twink dueling competitions. I want
also-
people to get together. Sorry, Caperfin, go ahead.
There's another similar item as Dazzling Longsword, but for level 29, called the Strike of the something.
Strike?
Find it. Strike of the I don't know.
Let's see if I can find it real
Like-
quick. Strike of the Hydra?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I remember this one. It's but it's a level 26. That's for the 29 bracket.
Oh, what bracket are we talking about? Sorry.
19.
19.
Oh, 19. Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
I'm talking about, is there like what's some of the shadow gear that you get to bump up
I
the
hate it myself.
it's all good. It's all good.
Damages.
To bump up the extra shadow damage on that thing if the server
Now you-
functions that way.
You literally have me thinking about a warrior right now, clothy armor with a two-handed axe.
I mean,
Shadow bonuses.
is it possible to get like random green mail armor that has shadow rolled on it?
That
Um,
maybe, but I don't know.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, that's crazy if there is. So then, what is some of the shadow pieces you get? Is there enchants for that, or?
Yeah. There's enchants. I don't play warrior that much. I'd have to look them up. Give me a sec.
No, you're good.
Oh, yeah. Since we spoke about shadow, there is actually one shimmering robe. I believe one.
See, I told you there was going to be something that's going to help
running
you.
around in a dang freaking clothy. No, not like this. Oh wait, that's a shimmering robes requires level 20. Well,
Oh.
okay, let's say we're not gonna go with the shadow damage stuff, and let's just say that we're just gonna go for the traditional. I want to crit you hard with my weapon warrior. So I think that the better one in that situation would actually be what Smite's Mighty Hammer, right? Slower. It's got a higher top end. But still, let's see, 20.6 versus 19.7. So the DPS is slightly lower on Smites for some reason, but the top end is higher. But yeah, so that's what I would go with. I don't know what
How
do y'all
slow
think?
is Smite's hammer?
3.50.
3.50. I mean,
And-
that's pretty nice if
Yeah.
you want to use a two-handed weapon. But well, no, we're not talking about it. I was thinking we were talking about 29. I'm like, 29, I think you could do.
Yeah, me too. I keep going back to 29.
Well, because 29, there's so much more you can do in 29.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
somebody subscribe. Thank you for the subscription.
Oh, and by the way, for the people that are sitting in here, by the way, we are streaming also on Atticus' channel. If you guys want to give him some love, here's his channel. Here's Grace for Days as well.
And Caperfins.
And then Caperfin, let me bring you back up. I linked it earlier. I thought I saved a sticky note. I don't have it right now.
Unfortunately,
Who's our special guest tonight?
the spec for Warriors at the 19 bracket is pretty boring. It's literally just cruelty and booming voice. I mean, I guess you could go with the improved rend, but no.
I technically did cruelty, then I did the improvement rend, and then strikes that way I get heroic.
So what's the warrior's role in a 19 environment? Are they DPS or are they just flag carriers?
I feel like they would just be frontline DPS still.
Or even you could play around with. I mean, Smith's Raver is one hit. I was looking at Axis. I was trying to trying to see if I could find an alternative to his.
Yeah, I'm just like I said. I'm not familiar with anything outside of Rogue, so I what the warrior's role would be in a 19 twink bracket. It's got to be Warsong Gulch. So are you just the flag carrier? And then how does a warrior scale with a paladin? I know I don't want to get too far off topic, but
no, that's good. So
who's the better tank? Who's the better DPS? I don't know. I haven't played around with it.
You have to gear differently to be the flag carrier as a warrior, because like I know that there's different pieces. Like you would want to get Redbeard's Crest and Cruel Barb, and then you would want to definitely get the 100 health enchants. I think you would get those regardless, because I don't think 16 extra strength would be better than 200 extra health. But I'm sure there's a bunch of other intricate little pieces that you could get that would make it so that you are a better flag carrier as opposed to having the DPS enchants and gear and whatnot.
So where does Prospector's axe drop from?
Prospector's axe? I don't remember that.
It's +8 stamina, +7 strength.
Prospector's axe is
requires level 15 to wield. I can imagine a level 19 going for that. Like hard. If they want to be somebody who's going to be a flag carrier, if they want to be frontline DPS, that's a lot of damage.
Prospector axe. Let's see.
Caperfin, are you familiar? Is it even worth having a warrior or paladin be the tank flag carrier, or do you just have a rogue do that with their cooldown on sprint? I don't know.
You would stick with warrior. The amount of HP and armor you can get is so high.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you were saying like 4,200. That's insane.
Where's this come from?
That's insane. I never really played around with. Huh.
Well, let's move off of this topic for now, and let's head towards the wrapping up of this portion, because we got about 15 minutes left here. So I want to know from the community here, anybody who's watching right now, this is something that you don't have to answer now. Think about it. If you do have some answers, go ahead and throw it at us. But I want to know what kind of content people are going to want to see when Classic actually comes out. Because right now, everything that we're doing is very theory-crafted based. We're doing things off of knowledge that we have from intricately different sources. And it's not to say that it's entirely wrong, but at the same time, it's not entirely right. So, I mean, are people going to want to just see updated guides for things that we've already done? Or is there, like... I mean, I don't know, because like this is something that I need to know, because I'm going to keep putting stuff out. Mostly my stuff is going to turn towards the PvP montage / PvP guide kind of thing, but I want to know what people want to see.
Yes, I'm interested to see. Obviously, my entire layout of content that I'm putting out right now is going to be completely different. As a content creator, these are my goals before the game drops. I want to have a complete set of dungeon guides. Originally, I wanted to do all the professions, but all these guides, they're just number guides, databases basically, and that's what a lot of people are doing. But you know, Caperfin's highlighting a lot of interesting videos to make, whether it's utilizing certain one-off items a ton, which would be better in Classic on live servers. He's going to be able to actually show you and you know, have definitive proof of it. But my content is going to be completely different than what I'm doing right now, and I'm not sure what I'm going to end up doing. I don't know. That's are we putting out, Atticus, our thoughts on this, or what would we want to create, or what would we want to see even as content creators? I don't know.
Yeah, anything and everything.
If I may, real quick, because I already have this off the top of my head, I'd like to see a scaled down of the guides. I know there's a lot of guide work out there right now. What I would like, because we're going to get Classic's going to come. A lot of guides may be proven right, may be proven wrong. We'll probably see a definitive guide come out for probably each spec at different twinking levels, all the way up through max level and min maxing. We probably would see a definitive leveling guide finally come out.
Right.
But after that, I would like to see deep dive topics and making other content, like, you know, how Grace was talking about doing kind of like the competitive dungeon grind.
Yes.
I want to talk about, like, because my video I'm working on right now is something I'd like to continue kind of ideas, is talking about professions less as a min-max approach, because a lot of people are focused on the min-maxing. I want to hear it from the people who are more or less thinking about their professions in a almost RP sense. So like for myself, if I'm a blacksmith and I get the chance to make sulfur and hammer, I then become that blacksmith on the server, one of the very few to actually hone his craft well enough to then also be known for making the sulfur and hammer, who can help you make the hand of rag. Like, there's a little bit more to that than just I'm a blacksmith and I happen to have this profession. It's you have this little bit more of an emotional connection to your character at that point. You are made something greater than what you were just a couple days prior. You get me? And I kind of want to dig into the character creation and getting into what characters mean to different people. And I'm going to start trying to make more of that content. I want to see more of that content come out from creators. I want people to care about what they're doing in the game. I'm an emotionally based human being. I like to hear the emotional side of things.
So Pogren, in those videos, how are you?
I'm sorry, you broke up, Grace. What was that?
This, or are you gonna go full RP? Are you gonna say I am Pogren the?
I am Pogren the Hammersmith.
Right.
Not full RP, but I mean, like the RP side of things, because I am a D&D player. I haven't said that enough at this point. I love being able to play the game and having a connection to my character, and there are certain aspects of my character that I'm specifically drawn to. Just like in World of Warcraft, it's not just because I chose a shaman. I like shamans for other reasons. I like blacksmithing for other reasons. I think the quintessential shaman is a shaman, alchemist, herbalist. I think that is super cool. You are a spiritual leader for your people. You also make some really cool potions. You can. There's a little bit more to it than just I'm a shaman. I decided to go this because it gave me an edge. And instead of saying that versus a player, it's like, well, I have a shaman, and I really like the idea, since I'm an outdoorsy person, of also being somebody who's into, like, maybe they like being a leather worker and skinner because they like to actually do taxidermy or something weird like that. But you get me.
I like how you go to taxidermy instead of literally just leatherworking, because leatherworking is an actual thing in real life, you weirdo.
Okay, leatherworking, but there's I think a bulk party of the player base is going to be I'm attached to one character and I play one character solely. The rating, the high end, the guys that are going total poop sock, Atticus, when the game comes out, those guys are going to care more about getting there with the best stats and the best items. Versus the person that's I'm going to grow with my character. I'm going to develop a relationship with it, and I'm no longer going to see that character just as a character, but as an extension of myself and my personality. Like, I want to be that alchemist / I want to be that shaman, really, who sits in Orgrimmar and hands out potions to lobies that are trying really hard and failing at Ragefire Chasm. Like, hey, you guys need some pots real quick? Here's some armor for you. Here's some potion. Here's some HP for you. Here's some mana for you. Like.
Well, see, it's funny
like
you
adding
say it
back
like
to
that,
the community,
because that's like that's one of the things about this game in general as well, is that like so many things from the game can resonate with you on a personal level. Like me myself, every aspect of my life, I am the one who kind of leads the charge. I'm the protector. Like I've been in so many fights in my life trying to protect people from getting hurt or stopping someone from hurting someone. So that's ties into me just wanting to be a warrior, just because I'm all about I'm going to take the damage, but I'm going to dish it right back out too. But then when it comes to professions, it's the same way. Yeah, I want to make the intricate cool stuff with engineering and blow stuff up. I like to tinker with things. I do that in real life. But more so though, I like creating weapons. I like creating armor. I do the cosplay stuff. I make that stuff in real life. I have a freaking anvil that I made out of an old 35-pound plate, and I have an old wood fire grill that I'm actually gonna start. I might start making some videos of some blacksmithing stuff that I'm gonna do. But that's the thing, is it ties into me. I'm a freaking one-dimensional dude in my interest. They don't go very far, I guess.
Yeah.
But Caperfin, your thoughts on stuff that the community will need or plans for your channel?
Oh, what the community will need. Definitely there's going to be an influx of casual players. More than there ever has been, just because it seems very appealing to a casual player, this whole entire new game that they haven't played. They're kind of used to the whole Legion and its kind of more laxed way of playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely there will need to be guides to help them. Um, in terms of my YouTube channel, I will be continuing to explore the weird and the impossible and try to make it possible. So anything from shaman tanking to warlock tanking, uh,
Priest tanking.
priest tanking. Yeah, priest tanking is a thing.
To Shaman's
So
tanking
yeah,
AQ.
basically, I offer an option to people who are maybe a bit more not bored with World of Warcraft, but find it somewhat repetitive and want to shake things up a bit, right? View the game from a different lens, perspective. I
Mhm.
offer options to people.
Yeah, I mean that's good. Like that's something that sets you aside, and I mean like
Mm.
we all have something different that we bring to the table, which is good.
Sure.
Like, I mean, I'm all about PvP. Grays, you were really about this weird leveling freaking meta. I don't understand it. Pogren, you're over here doing the lore side of RP things and whatnot, and then we got Caperfin just trying to make it work for the little man, whatever his desire may be. I like it. Quickly though, let's talk about some of the stuff that people actually said they want to see. Robin Cormier, he says, I think there will be a niche for updated guide info and even things like twinking guides, PvP montages, etc. Also, content pertaining to unique server events are usually popular. That's a good one. I think concentrated guides might be popular. By that, I mean condensed, updated info quickly delivered. Kind of like your 1-minute guides. Grace, Jesus Christ.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
5-man team leveling strats. I've always wanted role-playing content. And then someone else said, instead of single-player gold farming, how about duo gold farming? I think I've seen like 1 or 2 videos talking about duo gold farming, but I think it's mostly like limited to the what is it, like the dungeon runs or something that you can like tag team with somebody and farm a bunch of gold. I haven't seen anything out in the open world that's duo farming.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of what the community is going to want to see. The fact that it's gonna be, there's gonna be a big viewership for the casual play style. Are people gonna want to see raiding day in and day out, because that's gonna be a majority of the content. And then written guides. I mean, I don't know. This is gonna be one of the streamlined games ever. Vanilla WoW takes so much time to play through. People may not realize that, everybody's got high expectations. You're not going to be able to do all the things in game that you want to do, and you're going to have to live through streamers. You're going to have to live through content creators, seriously, to achieve some of these things in game that you want to achieve. I think there's going to be, everyone's going to be streaming the game 24/7. But like content that I'm going to want to create is just, I want to keep the game fresh, and that's kind of with the dungeon meta that I'm doing. I want to create a whole new play mode and just highlight everybody's speed runs. I'll almost have like a highlight reel channel. People are going to send in submissions, things like that. It's going to be more entertainment based, and I think the guide meta is going to kind of be left behind, because that's all we have right now. Once the game comes out, dude, you're going to be I think role playing, I think RP videos, I think server wide events, very one-off things like level 1 twinking,
PvP will become way bigger than it is right now. Sorry,
PvP montages are going to be huge, but just these huge achievements in game, things that the normal person will never be able to achieve on their own, I think that's going to be hot. And there's so many of those instances. I think it's endless content. So I mean, there's going to be this huge shift in content. But yeah, Sedgwick said, put out videos that prove to me that 2 hours of nostalgia isn't all I'll get before becoming bored. And that's kind of, how do we do that? That in my eyes, the way I contribute to that is, I want to have a full list of dungeon guides done, and I want to have this competitive dungeon meta, and get everybody excited about it. Put out videos that say, hey, I soloed Verdun the Everliving with Shaman. I kited him with my Earthbind Totem. You can't do that, right? Or I did it at level 20, see if you can do it at level 18. Things like that. That's going to be my contribution to keeping the game fresh, to creating new ways to play the game. I don't know. What do you guys think? Weigh in on any of that.
I think keeping, like, to speak on that, what he just brought up, the 2 hours of nostalgia, I mean, that's in the least rude way possible. That's more of a personal problem. Like, if you can't find the interest in the game, then maybe the game's just not for you at this point anymore. Like, and this ties back to the resonating part. Like, there's so much about Warrior for me that I never lose interest in it. I like wake up every day thinking about playing a damn Warrior and hitting rank 14. I go to sleep thinking about hitting rank 14. It is unfinished business for me. It is 14, 15 years ago that I saw this first video of someone doing it and wanted to do it and could not do it. Like, that right there has me driven beyond belief. But that's
Right.
me. That's where, like, the nostalgia will help me get to the point where I can start to reach that goal. But
Okay, but once you achieve your nostalgia, what's after that?
like, that's the thing. I don't know. I mean, like, at that point, do I do it on another class? Do I just keep
Oh my
being
gosh.
the top tier warrior and just keep running around smashing face? Like, I don't know at that point because I still have not fulfilled the one goal I had 15 years ago. Like,
I think everybody's kind of on the edge of their seat, whether it's Sedgwigs or other people.
Yeah.
What comes after nostalgia? Because that's the driving point for all of us, and that's why we have so many people excited about classic WoWs, because we want to play this game. Me as a completionist, I want to experience all these things I didn't get to experience. What happens after that? Is it gone? That's going to be interesting, and I think it's been proven, but we don't have the game yet, that it's more than nostalgia. Like, the replayability in the game is insane, but
I mean,
and
know.
I will say this. Oh, sorry.
No,
I just want to point this out. I will say there's proof of this. People that have played private servers in the past, they are going to play Classic WoW completely different than the first time they played it. There's stages that you go through. You fell in love with the game in vanilla in 2004, 2005, 2006, a certain way that we're just all attached to the game. We all did. And over time, over leveling 10 characters to 60 on private servers, these guys are going to rush to 60. Now they're all about getting world first. They're going to do server first, fastest raid times, all these things. There's an end to that, right? Like, and I can see it. I can see it in experienced players. They're going to play Classic initially completely different than they played it the first time around. Is there ever an end? Does the goodness of the game, the replayability of the game ever end? I feel like some people are they're halfway, man.
Yeah.
I think they're halfway on the replayability, totally. Because
No,
if you miss that first experience that we all fell in love with the game the first time, I don't know, and that's just an interesting point.
And then, I mean, but then I guess for me to theorize, there's just so much to do in the game that even after I'm rank 14 and accomplished what my goals are, I'm not going to be quitting. Like, I still want to do so much, like, with different DPS and with different classes, like, because it's like at this point I still haven't beat that one thing that I wanted to beat. But I know that whenever I have met other goals, like when that was no longer an option and it was like, okay, now what's the next goal in Wrath? I'm like, I want to be over 2200 consistently, and I want to have the 2500 tabard. And once I do that, I can do other things. Once I did that, I was like, okay, I still love my warrior, but now I have like a weight lifted off my shoulders, and I'm gonna go do some stuff on my pally and do some stuff on my shaman and do some stuff on these other classes because I had that one goal done. But now, yeah, like I said, now that class is coming back, I got that one goal lingering over me again.
Sure. Poker and Caperfin, y'all got any weight on that? What do you think about the nostalgia factor?
Well,
So-
I just want to. Oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, Caperfin. I'm going to go on for a bit, please. Caperfin. I'm going to be a bit. I'm going to be a
I wanna
bit.
touch
Go ahead.
upon, the replayability that Gray's mentioned. So one thing that a lot of guilds are doing in terms of raiding content when they've finished clearing a raid is that they will speed run the raid. So they will try to set challenges. How fast can they clear a boss? So that might be something a lot of people will do. I believe OG Haptic, a YouTube content creator, recently did a video about this, and it's essentially competitive PvE. And what do you guys think about it? Do you think this is kind of an extension of the game, or?
It's part of what I'm going to talk about.
Oh,
Then segue us in there, buddy.
Okay, so let me just segue into this. Okay, so the idea of hitting an end point, of having nothing to do, is impossible.
Agreed.
So, yes, you're going to have a main goal that you're going to probably focus on as a player. For myself, I'm going to experience this. I want to be a part of the community. I want to help others reach their goal because that's the kind of person I am. Now, I will never run out of it because there will always be people who want help getting to their goal.
Sure. Makes sense.
But also, even after you raid Nax, what if you decide to play another character that you have never played before? Like you're talking about your shaman, your paladin. But at the same time, private servers have been going since vanilla launch and have had a consistent amount of people who constantly keep playing the game. On top of that, if you think about how well WoW has done as a franchise outside of Classic, I find myself every single time an expansion comes out playing for 3 months, 4 months, giving it a try, giving it my all, because I hope the game is going to return to something I want, which is pre TBC. It's either vanilla, TBC, or Wrath. Those three time periods, the golden trifecta of gloriousness, are what I liked from the WoW history, and I want to return to it. And I will always find something in those to do, because I did it when I played World of Warcraft the first time around. People were like, "Oh, we're done raiding for the night. What are you gonna go do?" Or, "Look, we already cleared we already cleared, TOC. We already cleared Ice Crown Citadel," which never for me, but they were like, "Oh, there's nothing left to do anymore in the game. I'm gonna go ahead and quit for a while." It's like, I still have achievements to get. I still have dungeons I want to run. There are still items I want to throw on. There are still twinks I want to build. I don't get how people can go, "Oh, look, I'm done." It's like you may have either lost interest in the game, which is fine. I completely understand that can happen. But at the same time, if you're going to be a disgruntled person and be like, they need more content, it's like, are you trying to go after the content that's already there hard enough? How bad do you want that thing that you've been trying for, that you're now either giving up on or you have obtained? Like, do you feel like you did it well enough? Do you want to go back and try to hone your craft, as it were? So speaking about PvP, I think PvP for Classic WoW is going to take off in a direction none of us have prepared for. Because the one thing I know that's coming from private servers, that's coming to current day Classic WoW as we get it, is that PvP scene. People are cuckoo for PvP. People love the idea that what was once unthinkable is now viable. People like Caperfin coming up with weird, obscure ways of making shaman tanking work, making priest tanking, of all things, priest tanking work, and actually going through the science of it and kind of pointing out the points and kind of going, you know what? Oddly enough, that would work. That's the kind of stuff I love seeing. That's the kind of stuff I want to keep seeing, and I think we will. Even if they release TBC servers, even if they release Wrath servers, every single one of them will have a hardcore community that will constantly be doing the same things I'm talking about. They'll be going back, they'll be experiencing it. They'll not just be experiencing the game, but they'll be dissecting it, tearing it apart. There's a reason why speedrunning is a huge thing right now for other games, because games have been out for so long that people have dissected them down to understanding the movement of 2 pixels, making the difference between jumping and falling to your death.
Right.
That blows my mind. And I want more of that out of our community. I love that fact. I mean, I also have my own goals to raid Nax and stuff like that, but I have a little bit to wait. So I'm going to enjoy my time getting to Nax.
Yeah. Sure. I feel you. I mean, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Does anyone have anything to say to close us out here?
I have my good night. That's about it. I love you all for showing up. Well,
Thank you
everyone for showing up.
Does anyone want to add anything? Anything at all?
Any final thoughts?
Grace, you've been so quiet tonight, man. Something's going on.
No.
Yeah, we got him thinking.
I don't know.
The cogs are turning.
I don't have any ending point. I hope that we can prove Sedgwick's. I hope that we can prove a lot of people wrong on the fact that, it's not just a nostalgia factor, and I think that's going to be. I truly do. It's a lot of people have already broken down, especially like Pogren already said. It's there. We just got to see it, and I'm really excited to just prove it. And that's going to be a big driving point on the content that I'm pushing forward. Is just the replayability of the game. I don't know. We'll
One last thing. This may answer Sedgwick's question a little bit here. So it's not okay. The nostalgia is what makes you remember the game, but the struggle is what pulls you back to the game every day. There's nothing like getting off of the game, going to work, being at work thinking, man, like, I really need to do, Scarlet Monastery tonight. I really need to get the set. Like, I need to work on that really bad. And then when you get off work, you go home and you're like, I'm getting a group together. I'm doing this. Man, I got one piece. I got to go to sleep, but I'm waking up tomorrow and I'm going to get that before I go to work. Like, you're going to constantly have little intricate things to look forward to. And that's because that's what kept me coming back, man. Every day I'd go to school thinking, like, man, I got stuff I got to do when I get home. I gotta get on my WoW grind. Like, that was all I was thinking about. And, like, if anything, now it's better because you have a better plan in front of you. You know more about it. So, yeah, the nostalgia will pull you back in when you're not playing the game for long periods of time, like when you're waiting on a new server or whatever the case is. But the struggle that you see every single day with your character is what will keep you interested every day. So that's my thoughts on that.
I like it.
And then I guess it comes down to a grinding issue. If
Yeah.
That may not be your playstyle. That may
Yeah.
not be the game for you. I don't know. It's an interesting topic. I'm ready to shatter those walls, break those barriers, dude, and
Yeah.
show everybody how great the game is. I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
But with
thanks-
that, Pogrom, what you got for us?
So Def Camp, this is how we say goodnight. Good night, Azeroth.
I dropped links for everyone's channels in the chat, and my new videos linked there too. Make sure you guys follow us on YouTube. Our Twitches should be very similar to the same handles. Find us there. I'm gonna be streaming only on Twitch whenever this is all said and done. But yep, have a good night, everyone. Deuces.